All right, we should be good. We're back in the building on this Thursday morning. Hopefully y'all can hear me and see me. You know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. And welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE, at patreon.com/ClassEbeats, by the way. The link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. And we're going to get back into it. Yesterday, we had to stop and we had to take a break during the cross-examination of Nicholas Kassotis in this trial, and now we're going to get back into the cross-examination. We're actually going to get to hear closing arguments, which I was shocked that they did closing arguments in the same day, and then we'll actually look at what the jury instructions are going to be, and we'll start our verdict watch today. So before we get into it, I gotta say what's up to the people though. We up here looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Shout out to my awesome amazing Amy in here first thing in the morning. We've got Les Cleavers in the building as well. Good to see you. Libby22 SC Girl is back at it as well. Good to see you, Libby. We've got Taco Tuesday in here. Kara Hampton, J Money, Big Dogs in the building. Just saying with Alicia is in here as well. Jay Buckmaster's in the building too. Good to see everybody this morning. Hopefully y'all are feeling great on this Friday Eve, and we're gonna have a great time on the show. If you're just joining us or if you're here for the first time, there is only one favor I ask. I absolutely beg you to please make sure that you like the video on your way in. Likes are free, helps the channel continue to grow, lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show, and it shares the video and the channel and this live stream with more people. So if you could take a second and do that. Big thank you to the nearly 500 of you that have liked the video already. I know y'all already know I was gonna be up here begging for it. And I appreciate every single one of you that does that. Also, if you're feeling extra generous, you can share out the video as well. You can share it on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever you are. You can even share it to your group chat via text message. So if y'all are feeling extra generous, you can go over there, hit the share button, share it with your people. And then also, I will be shouting out anybody who sends in a super chat. And I know so many of y'all have sent in super chats already. So big thank you to everyone that's done that. Let me go ahead and read these super chats and then we'll get right into it, because I know y'all are ready to see the rest of this cross-examination. It's about to be crazy. So check this out. We got Les Cleaver in the building with the 10 ball. He says, I pray each of you are blessed and have a great and wonderful day. Please stay safe and cool. I love each of you as God loves you. We will see Nick convicted by noon. Dang, Les Cleaver with the hot take. In my opinion, next case, please. What do you guys think about that take by my guy, Les Cleaver? Do you think we're going to have a verdict here in the next couple hours? I'm going to be honest. I tend to agree with Les Cleaver on this one. I think it's going to be a very quick verdict. This trial has been absolutely insane. The prosecution has done a great job of showing all the evidence, presenting all the evidence, showing what they think happened, what they believe happened based on the evidence. There's been testimony surrounding that to points to the evidence. I mean, it seems like a pretty open and shut case. And when it comes to reasonable doubt, by the end of this, we're going to have to talk about it and see if there's enough reasonable doubt for you guys to vote not guilty if you were to do that. So we'll see. Shout out to Les Cleaver. I'm with you on that one, man. Also, he drops, oh my goodness, another 5 bomb.
Another one.
He said age and apology tax paid from yesterday. No offense to any of the chat ladies. All of you are 29 for life. Laughing my you know what off. God bless you all. Amen. It's okay, Les. Man, don't apologize for speaking your truth, man. We've got, speaking of, J Money in the building with the 5 gifted memberships. Shout out to J Money showing up and showing support. He was on the show last night showing major love too, and I shut it down on him. Either way, he still shows up and shows out. Thank you, J Money, for gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Jay, make sure you say thank you. Make sure y'all say, I appreciate you, J Money, because I know I do. And he's giving you a chance to not only get access to the members only content, but you get instant access to any videos we drop here on the channel. You got custom emojis that you use in the chat, and your name gets highlighted in that nice green. All right. I love all of our members over there. And thank you for Jay for helping us bring more people over to the membership side too. And then my awesome, amazing Amy is in here doing the same thing, gifting 5 memberships as well. So I should see at least 10 thank yous in the chat, because I know y'all get notified when someone gifts you a membership. So go in there, say thank you to Amy. All right. Show her some love. It's like, if he didn't do it, then who did? Jim McIntyre? We're gonna find out, and we're gonna see what the defense is trying to say, because we'll have our closing statements coming up next. We'll go ahead and actually, you know what? I changed my mind, because we need to figure out what's going to happen today. So what we'll do, instead of going directly into the rewind, we're going to go straight into court proceedings today. We're going to hear these jury instructions. I want to know your take on this, how you feel the jury instructions are phrased, if you think they're clear enough, if you think it favors one side or the other. And then we could talk about the jury deliberations and how long they're actually going to be back there before they decide the fate of Nicholas Kassotis. Let's go ahead and get into it. And I'll be saying good morning to so many of y'all as you join the show. Here we go.
All right, anything else before we bring the jury in?
And I noticed the sound was a little low too.
All right,
Does
let's
the
bring our
sound
jury
good?
in.
Or at least the sound ratio. Ducky Dexter's in here. Mary's in the building. Tay, did I say good morning to you? Slim Life New Jersey's up in here. We've got Miss Jones is
Please
in
turn
the
the
building.
phones off or have them on silent.
Need to check those phones at the door. Is that Nick's sister? It's got to be his sister. Sister and mother are like twins. Hey, appreciate you watching, Miss Jones. Thank you.
I'm going to have the court reporter hand you the verdict form that we've put together in this case, just to have a look. Here's one for the state. Yes, sir.
Hey, good morning, Tay. I know I got to double check sometimes too. Let's speed this up a little bit too. Man, Les Cleaver said they're going to have a verdict by lunchtime. That would be something. I definitely agree there'll be a verdict today.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Good morning. And I'm required one last time to ask if you were able to abide by the court's previous instructions regarding access to media. Did we have any problems? No. All right, then I will now read you the law that applies in this case.
The judge said one last time. He said one last time. Oh man, does that mean he thinks it's going to be done by today? I'm surprised he said that. What about tomorrow?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are considering the case
said, y'all
of
go
the
ahead and get
state
this
of
done.
Georgia versus Nicholas James Cassotus. And this is Bill of Indictment number 2024 R67 in the Superior Court of Liberty County, Georgia, the February term of court 2024. And the grand jury has indicted the defendant with the following offenses.
Morning, Rhonda.
Count 1, malice murder. Count 2, felony murder. Count 3, aggravated assault. Count 4, concealing the death of another. Count 5, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony. Count 6, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Count 7, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Count 8, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Count 9, possession of tools for the commission of a crime.
Here's all the tools.
Count 10, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Count 11, removal of body parts from scene of death. And count 12, tampering with evidence. Now, you will recall at the beginning of this trial, in fact, in jury selection, the entire indictment was read to you. I'm not going to do that again, but I want to remind you that your oath requires that as you deliberate and go through each count, that you read the entire language that's inserted in each of those counts. So, ladies and gentlemen, the defendant has entered his plea of not guilty to this indictment, and the indictment and the plea forms the issue that you have to decide. Neither the indictment nor the plea of not guilty should be considered as evidence. The defendant is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. the defendant enters upon the trial of the case with the presumption of innocence in his favor. This presumption remains with the defendant until it is overcome by the state with evidence sufficient to convince you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the offenses charged. No person shall be convicted of any crime unless and until each element of the crime is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proof rests upon the state to prove every material allegation of the indictment and every essential element of the crime charged beyond a reasonable doubt. There is no burden of proof upon the defendant whatsoever, and the burden never shifts to the defendant to
Reasonable
introduce
doubt.
evidence or to prove innocence. However, the state is not required to prove the guilt of the accused beyond all doubt or to a mathematical certainty. A reasonable doubt means just what it says. A reasonable doubt is a doubt of a fair-minded, impartial juror honestly seeking the truth. A
Yep.
reasonable doubt is a doubt based upon common sense and reason. It does not mean a vague or arbitrary doubt, but it is a doubt for which a reason can be given, arising from a consideration of the evidence, a lack of evidence, or a conflict in the evidence. After giving consideration to all the facts and circumstances of this case, if your minds are wavering, unsettled, or unsatisfied, then that is the doubt of the law, and you must acquit the defendant. But if that doubt does not exist in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you would be authorized to convict the defendant. If
There
the
you go.
state fails to prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, it would be your duty to acquit the defendant. I charge you that facts and circumstances that merely place upon the defendant a grave suspicion of the crime charged, or that merely raises a speculation or conjecture of the defendant's guilt, is not sufficient to authorize a conviction of the defendant. Members of the jury, it is my duty and responsibility to determine the law that applies to the case and instruct you on that law. You are bound by these instructions. It is your responsibility to determine the facts of the case from all the evidence presented. Then you must apply the law given in this charge to the facts as you find them to be. Your oath requires that you will decide this case based solely on the evidence. Evidence is the means by which any fact that is put in issue is established or disproved. Evidence includes all of the testimony of the witnesses, any exhibits admitted during the course of the trial. Evidence does not include the indictment, the plea of not guilty, and the opening or closing statements made by the attorneys or questions asked by the attorneys. Evidence may be either direct or circumstantial, or it can be both. In considering the evidence, you may use reasoning and common sense to make deductions and reach conclusions. You should not be concerned about whether the evidence is direct or circumstantial. Direct evidence is the testimony of a person who asserts that he or she has actual knowledge of a fact, such as personally observing or otherwise witnessing that fact. Circumstantial evidence is proof of a set of facts and circumstances that tend to prove or disprove another fact by inference, that is, by consistency with such fact or elimination of other facts. There is no legal difference in the weight you may give to either direct or circumstantial evidence. You would be authorized to convict only if the evidence, whether direct, circumstantial, or both, excludes all reasonable theories of innocence and proves the guilt of the accused beyond a reasonable doubt. The jury must determine the credibility of the witnesses. In deciding
Even his
this,
dad's shaking
you
his
may
head.
consider all the facts and circumstances of the case, including the witness's manner of testifying, their intelligence, their means and opportunity of knowing the facts about which they testify, the nature of the facts about which they testify, the probability or improbability of their testimony, their interest or lack of interest in the outcome of the case, and their personal credibility as you observe it. Testimony has been given in this case by certain witnesses who are termed experts. Expert witnesses are those who, because of their training and experience, possess knowledge in a particular field that is not common knowledge or known to the average person. The law permits expert witnesses to give their opinions based upon their experience and training. You are not required to accept the testimony of any witness, expert or otherwise. Testimony of an expert, like that of all other witnesses, is to be given only such weight and credit as you think it is properly entitled to receive. To impeach a witness is to show that the witness is unworthy of belief. A witness may be impeached by disproving the facts to which the witness testified. Your assessment of a trial witness's credibility may be affected by comparing or contrasting that testimony to statements or testimony of the same witness that was made before the trial started. It is for you to decide whether there is a reasonable explanation for any inconsistency in a witness's pretrial statements and testimony when compared to the same witness's testimony at trial. As with all issues of witness credibility, you, the jury, must apply your common sense and reason to decide what testimony you believe and what testimony you may not believe. The testimony of a single witness, if believed, is sufficient to establish a fact. Generally, there is no legal requirement of corroboration of a witness, provided you find the evidence to be sufficient. I charge you that a statement that the defendant allegedly made while in custody has been offered for your consideration. Before you may consider this as evidence for any purpose, you must determine whether the defendant's statement was voluntary, and if the statement was given in custody, whether the defendant was properly advised of his constitutional rights. To be voluntary, a statement must be freely and willingly given without coercion, duress, threats, use of violence, fear of injury, or any suggestions or promises of leniency or reward. A statement induced by the slightest hope of benefit or the remotest fear of injury is not voluntary. To be voluntary, a statement must be the product of a free will,
You're
and
good,
not
Tammy.
under compulsion or any necessity imposed by others.
I think
In
most everybody think he's going to be
determining
guilty.
voluntariness, you must also consider to what extent the defendant was informed of his rights, as discussed below. The burden of proof is upon the state to establish that the statement was voluntary. That is, it was freely and willingly made. If you do not find that the statement was voluntary, you may not consider it for any purpose. If you find that the statement was made while in custody and as a result of police questioning, you must also determine whether the defendant was advised of his constitutional rights and whether the defendant clearly understood and knowingly gave up such rights.
He
The
did.
constitutional rights that law enforcement officers must
He said, yeah, I'll
explain
talk to you guys.
and that the defendant must understand and voluntarily give up before any custodial statement is taken by law enforcement are as follows. Number one, the defendant has the right to remain silent. Number two, if the defendant chooses not to remain silent, anything he says could be used as evidence against the defendant in court. Number three, the defendant had a right to consult a lawyer before any questioning and to have the lawyer present with him at all times during any
He
questioning.
consulted Jim.
And number four, if the defendant did not have money for a lawyer, that a lawyer would have been provided for him to represent him before any questioning and to be present with him during questioning. The burden of proof is upon the state to establish that the constitutional warnings were mentioned and that they were understood and knowingly given up by the defendant. If you find, as mentioned above, that the defendant's statement was voluntary and that all of the warnings as to the defendant's constitutional rights were given, that the defendant did understand the meaning of what was said and knowingly gave up such rights, then you may consider it as evidence. If so, then you must apply the general rules for testing the believability of the witness and decide what weight, if any, you will give to all or any part of such evidence. If you fail to find that the defendant was properly informed of these rights and that he understood and gave up those rights, then you would disregard the statement entirely and give it no consideration in reaching your verdict. Ladies and gentlemen, evidence relating to DNA comparison has been admitted for your consideration. Identification by DNA comparison is considered opinion evidence and is governed by the law concerning opinion testimony as has been given to you. As opinion testimony, evidence relating to DNA comparisons is dependent upon many factors. Among the factors are the credibility and accuracy of the witnesses who were involved in the process of obtaining, identifying, preserving, recording, and maintaining the physical evidence, and upon the accuracy and validity of the testing procedures themselves that were used to form such opinions. All of these issues are matters for you to consider and determine.
There you go.
For you to determine what weight, if any, you will give to the evidence relating to DNA comparisons in your decision in this case. The defendant is charged with crimes against the laws of this state. A crime is a violation of a statute of this state in which there is a joint operation of act and intention. Intent is an essential element of any crime and must be proven by the state beyond a reasonable doubt. Intent may be shown in many ways, provided you, the jury, believe that it existed from the proven facts before you. It may be inferred from the proven circumstances or by acts and conduct, or it may be, in your discretion, inferred when it is the natural and necessary consequence of the act. Whether or not you draw such an inference is a matter solely within your discretion. Criminal intent does not mean an intention to violate the law or to violate a penal statute, but it simply means the intention to commit the act that is prohibited by law. This defendant will not be presumed to have acted with criminal intent, but you may find such intention or the absence of it upon a consideration of words, conduct, demeanor, motive, and other circumstances connected with the act for which the accused is being prosecuted. Every person is presumed to be of sound mind and discretion, but this presumption may be rebutted. You may infer, if you wish to do so, that the acts of a person of sound mind and discretion are the product of that person's will, and a person of sound mind and discretion intends the natural and probable consequences of those acts. Whether or not you make such an inference or inferences is a matter solely within the discretion of the jury. I charge you that a jury is not authorized to find a person who was merely present at the scene of the crime
Pop's asleep.
at the time of its perpetration guilty
He said
of
it's too early for him.
consenting in and concurring in the commission of the crime unless the evidence shows beyond a reasonable doubt that such person committed the alleged crime, helped in the actual perpetration of the crime, or participated in the criminal endeavor. Members of the jury, the law of our state sets a time limit upon the state in starting prosecution in most criminal offenses. The accused is on trial for the offense of malice murder and felony murder, and under Georgia law, prosecution for these offenses, may be commenced at any time. The exact date on which the murder took place is not a material element of the crime of malice murder or felony murder because there is no statute of limitation for those offenses. Prosecution for all other felony offenses included in this indictment must begin within 4 years after the offense has been committed. Prosecution for any misdemeanors included in this indictment must begin within 2 years after the offense has been committed. If you find from the evidence that the indictment in this case was not filed within the required number of years after the offense was committed, it would be your duty to acquit the defendant. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the law provides that criminal actions shall be tried in the county in which the crime was committed. In a prosecution in any case in which it cannot be determined in what county the crime was committed, venue is proper and may be proven in any county in which the evidence shows beyond a reasonable doubt that it might have been committed. Venue, that is, the crime was committed in Liberty County, is a jurisdictional fact and must be proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt as to each crime alleged in this indictment. Venue must be
pretty
proven
straightforward.
by direct or circumstantial evidence or both. Criminal homicide shall be considered as having been committed in the county in which the cause of death was inflicted. If it cannot be determined in which county the cause of death was inflicted, venue is proper and may be proved in the county in which the death occurred. If a dead body is discovered in this state and cannot be readily determined in what county the cause of death was inflicted, venue is proper and may be proved in the county in which the dead body was discovered. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now charge you on the offenses that are alleged in this bill of indictment.
All right, here we go.
Count 1 alleges malice murder. For malice murder, the state must prove the defendant caused the death of another person unlawfully and with malice aforethought. The killing must have been done with malice to be murder. Malice, as the term is used here, is not necessarily ill will or hatred. Rather, it is the unlawful intent to kill. You may find malice when the circumstances show that the defendant acted with the deliberate intention to unlawfully take the life of another person. You may also find malice when there does not appear to be significant provocation and all the circumstances of the killing show an abandoned and malignant heart. The state does not have to prove premeditation to prove murder.
Yep.
If a killing is done with malice, it is murder regardless of how briefly the malicious intent existed. No specific length of time is required for malice to arise in the defendant's mind. Malice may be formed in a moment, and instantly a fatal wound may be inflicted. If malice was in the defendant's mind at the time of the act or the killing and moved the defendant to do it, that is enough for the killing to be murder. Premeditation typically means a prior decision or plan to do something. Premeditation is not an element of murder and does not need to be proved by the state for you to find malice aforethought. However, in determining whether malice existed at the time of the killing, you may consider any evidence of premeditation or lack of it. The state does not have to prove motive to prove murder. Any evidence of motive has been admitted for your use in determining the defendant's state of mind.
I think the motive was pretty clear.
The killing.
There were several motives.
Ladies
If we're
and
being
gentlemen,
honest.
count 2, the defendant is charged with felony murder. For felony murder, the state must prove that the defendant caused the death of another person by committing a felony. The state does not have to show that the defendant acted with malice to prove felony murder. Aggravated assault is a felony, which I will define for you shortly. You may find the defendant guilty of felony murder if you believe that he caused the death of another person by committing the felony of aggravated assault, regardless of whether he intended the death to occur. There must be some causal connection between the felony and the death. Felony murder is not established simply because the death occurred at the same time as or shortly after the felony was attempted or committed. The felony must have directly caused the death or played a substantial and necessary part in causing the death, regardless of when the death ultimately occurred. I will now charge you on the elements of aggravated assault. For aggravated assault, the state must prove the defendant assaulted another person with an offensive weapon. To prove assault, the state does not have to prove that the other person was actually injured. However, the state must prove that the defendant attempted to cause a violent injury to the person or committed an act that placed the person in reasonable apprehension or fear of immediately receiving a violent injury. An offensive weapon is an object that is likely to cause or actually does cause death or serious bodily injury if used against another person. The presence of an offensive weapon or the appearance of such may be established by circumstantial evidence. The state is not required to admit into evidence the offensive weapon used by the defendant in order for the defendant to be found guilty of the offenses of malice murder, felony murder, or aggravated assault. I will now charge you, ladies and gentlemen, on possession of a knife during the commission of a felony. For possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, the state must prove that the defendant had a knife with a blade at least 3 inches long on his person while committing a felony, which is one of the following: a crime involving another person, concealing
either
death
Jim
of
or
another,
Nick.
which is a felony, which I will define for you shortly. And I will now define for you the elements of possession of tools for the commission of a crime. For possession of tools for the commission of a crime, The state must prove the defendant possessed a tool or device commonly used to commit the crimes alleged in the indictment and intended to use the tool or other device to commit a crime. With regard to the charge of possession of a knife during the commission of a felony or possession of tools for the commission of a crime, the state must prove that the defendant possessed the knives or other devices at issue in this case. Actual possession means that at the time of the alleged offense, the defendant knowingly had direct physical control over the knife, tool, or device. Constructive possession means that all times of the alleged offense, the defendant may not have had direct physical control over those knives or devices, but that he did knowingly have both the ability and the intention to exercise control over those objects. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in count 4, the defendant is charged with concealing the death of another. I charge you that the state must prove that the defendant concealed the death of another person, which hindered the discovery of whether that person was unlawfully killed. In count 11 of the indictment, the defendant is charged with removal of body parts from the scene of death. And I charge you that it shall be unlawful for any person to remove from the scene of the death or dismemberment of any person or any human body part thereof.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, with regard to count 12,
Can't do that, guys.
where the defendant is charged with tampering with evidence, I charge you
Jeez.
that a person commits the offense of tampering with evidence when, with the intent to prevent the apprehension or cause the wrongful apprehension of any person or to obstruct the prosecution or defense of any person, he knowingly destroys, alters, conceals, or disguises physical evidence or makes, devises, prepares, or plants false evidence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after considering the testimony,
Those were
and
Nick's
evidence
parents you
presented
just
to
saw.
together with the charge of the court, if you should find and believe beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant in Liberty County, Georgia, did commit the offenses as alleged in the indictment, you would be authorized to find the defendant guilty of that offense, and in that event, the form of your verdict would be, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. However, if you do not believe the defendant is guilty of an offense alleged in the indictment, or you have any reasonable doubt as to the defendant's guilt of that offense, then it would be your duty to acquit the defendant of that offense, in which event the form of your verdict would be, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. By no ruling or comment that the court has made during the progress of this trial have I intended to express any opinion upon the facts of this case, upon the credibility of the witnesses, upon the evidence, or
Other than the
upon
fact that
guilt
they'll probably
or
have a
innocence
verdict
of the
today.
accused defendant. Your verdict should be a true verdict based upon your opinion of the evidence according to the laws given you in this charge. You are not to show favor or sympathy to one party or the other. It is your duty to consider the facts of this case objectively, without favor, affection, or sympathy to either party. In deciding this case, you should not be influenced by sympathy or prejudice for or against either party. You are only concerned with the guilt or innocence of the defendant. You are not to concern yourselves with punishment, and you are prohibited from discussing any potential sentences in this case. One of your first duties in the jury room will be to select one of your members to serve as the foreperson.
I'll do it.
He or she will preside over the deliberations, and he or she will sign the verdict, to which all 12 of you freely and voluntarily agree. You should start your deliberations with an open mind. Consult with one another and consider each other's point of view. Each of you must decide this case for yourself.
Good morning,
but
Countess.
You should do so only after a full discussion and consideration of the case with your fellow jurors. Do not hesitate to change an opinion if you are convinced that it is wrong. However, you should never surrender an honest opinion in order to be congenial or to reach a verdict solely because of the opinions of other jurors. During your deliberations, you must not communicate with anyone other than your fellow jurors. You are not permitted to conduct any research. You are not allowed to consult any other materials. And I don't believe that you'll have your phone, so I don't think that's an issue. So whatever your verdict is, ladies and gentlemen, it must
You can watch
be
the show,
unanimous.
though.
The verdict must be in writing and signed by your foreperson, dated, and returned to be published in open court.
You're allowed to watch
Now,
the
ladies
show.
and gentlemen, we have prepared a verdict form that you'll be able to use.
Can
You
we
will
see the
also
verdict
have
form?
the indictment that fully sets forth all 12 counts. So as you go through the body of the indictment, you can read count 1, you can read through the entire language that is set forth in the indictment, and then you'll see that the verdict form says, "We, the jury, in the above title action, find the defendant, count 1, malice murder." And there's a block that you can check not guilty or guilty. And it's the same for all 12 counts. So after you have reached a unanimous verdict, and it has been signed and dated on the back page by your foreperson, you would then simply
poetic
knock on
justice.
the door, tell the bailiff that you have reached a verdict, although you would not disclose what that verdict is. Then we would bring you back into open court where your verdict will be published according to law. Now, there are going to be a lot of exhibits that will go out with you. These large boxes, the large boxes of physical evidence, we're not going to send those out with you at this time. But if you feel that you need to observe or look at those objects, if you would just simply write a note to the bailiff, and we'll be happy to bring you back out so you can take a look at the object that you wish to see. So I'm going to allow you to go back to the jury room at this time, but you will not begin your discussions and deliberations until you receive the indictment, the verdict form, and all of the physical evidence that will be sent with you. So
Let's
you
see
are
if we have
excused
the
at this
verdict
time.
form. All right, there it is. So those are the instructions. I'm trying to see if I can locate the verdict form, though. Haven't seen it yet. Shout out to the judge. I think that was pretty straightforward, especially when it comes to reasonable doubt. And I have another, oh no, where did it go? I had another description of reasonable doubt that I wanted to read.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Let the
me see if I can
record
find it.
reflect the jury's now out. Ms. Bayo, on behalf of the state, are there any objections to the charge of court?
There are no objections to the charge or to the verdict form, Your Honor.
Mr. Weinstein.
The defense also has no objections to the charge or the verdict form.
All right, thank you. So we've already reviewed all the exhibits. They're in proper order. I assume we can go ahead and have them sent out to the jury.
I don't dispute that, Judge. I know normally it's the court's practice to have two separate rooms for alternates to not be with the jury. I know we didn't put it on the record. I just want to make sure that that's
Yeah.
very clear.
It is, and I've got their names. Let me get the
Law and crime started the verdict clock. How long do y'all think it's gonna be?
Mr. Miller.
I just wanted to make sure.
The 4 alternate jurors.
Oh no, we can't hear you guys. Cut the sound. No.
I'm going-
They're having an unofficial sidebar.
We're just asking that they stick around.
Y'all think
I
it's gonna
asked Mr.
take 2
Weinstein.
minutes?
I'm
I
going-
assume
5
that.
I'm
minutes.
going to always let them stay.
I know, Judge. Thank you. I
Taco
appreciate
Tuesday
that.
said the verdict is in.
We'll be in recess until we have a verdict.
Thank you, sir.
That would be crazy. 5 minutes. Tay Tune thinks it'll be before lunch.
Ms. Bayo,
Yeah.
if you and Mr. Weinstein, this doesn't.
Let me see. All right. Do we have anything else that's covered in court before we start? After lunch? Dang. I think that might be it. Okay, so the verdict clock is officially running. Let's go ahead and do our rewind. We're going to rewind back to yesterday. And when it comes to reasonable doubt, I like this explanation of reasonable doubt. Here's what we have. If you're not sure enough to bet someone's freedom on it, you can't convict. So here's what we have. If you're on the jury and you're about to say guilty, but there's still a solid common sense reason in your mind to think, maybe not, then that's reasonable doubt and you must vote not guilty. So I ask you guys, is there anything in your mind about this case when it comes to Nicholas Kassotis that makes you think, maybe he didn't do it? I'm going to let you all decide. I dropped the poll in the chat for you to let me know what you think. And the question is, what do you think the verdict will be? Will it be guilty on all counts, guilty on some counts, guilty of just murder, or not guilty? Unfortunately for Nicholas, if we were the jury, it's not looking great. Not looking great. 7% of you, only 7% of you said not guilty. 4% of you said guilty of just murder. 16% of you said guilty on some counts. 73% of you said guilty on all counts. Slim Life said guilty of being born. Dang. Guilty on all of them. This guy changes his name as often as he changes his story. Before the day is over, for sure, they'll have a verdict today. I agree. Your Honor, we don't need to go to the jury room. He's guilty. Can y'all imagine? The jurors just look to their right. They look to their left. They nod and they say, Your Honor, we have a verdict. Dang. That would be tough. Even his father looked disgusted at him. Dang, nobody wakes up and dismembers folks. This was premeditated. There's been instances where that's happened, but in this case, I don't know. That 7% were trolls. Now, a lot of people, I was watching Cat stream yesterday, and you'd be surprised. Now, let's be real. I think many of the people who are saying not guilty are saying it because of Doug Weinstein. We love Doug Weinstein, and we want to see Doug get a win. But at the same time, I don't think when it comes to reasonable doubt, when it comes to you in your mind thinking, maybe he didn't do this. There's no reasonable doubt here. Reasonable. Now, if you want me to put my tinfoil hat on, me and Amy have talked about it. We talked about it this morning. We talked about it throughout this case at length about the possibilities of what happened here, what we think is going on. We can maybe save that for once the trial is over and we can have a discussion about it. But when it comes to reasonable, it's pretty easy to see that, in my opinion, that Nick was the only one who could have did this. He had the motive, he had the means, he had the purchases, and it's looking like he did do this. And again, there was something else I saw here too. Reasonable doubt does not mean no doubt at all. That would be beyond all doubt, which is impossible in real life. It does mean the doubt you have must be logical and based on evidence or the lack thereof, and not just a wild guess or a what if scenario. I think we have that here. Yeah, Doug's taking a loss on this one. Doug knew yesterday that when that moron took the stand. Speaking of, let's go ahead and get back into it. So again, we're going to rewind. He had the motive, he had the means, and the bad hair. Dang. Oh, let him live. So we're going to get back into the rest of Nicholas Kassotis' cross-examination. And the prosecutor was turning up the heat, just started to get cooking. We were talking about his car, and she was holding him accountable for right after he found out his wife was dead, allegedly. He went and got a car wash. This is wild. Check this out. Here we go. I'm gonna turn up the volumes.
During your direct examination, I didn't hear any reference to 2.44 or 2.43, the rug, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
You don't dispute that this rug is the one you left the house with, 2.44?
No, ma'am. That looks right.
And 2.43 is what was there when you got there?
I believe so, ma'am.
And you replaced these because you said Rusty threw up on it?
Yes, he always had kind of a stomach that was sensitive to eating too much, and he was known to beg for food. So sometimes Betsy and Frank would overeat him, and he would get sick.
You didn't just clean the rug?
No, ma'am. Mindy had put it in a plastic bag and stuck it out back because it smelled, and by the time I had time to try to clean it, 2 days had passed, and the entire thing smelled absolutely awful.
Had nothing to do with the blood that was underneath the rug, right?
There was no blood underneath the rug.
Well, you saw the photographs here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it your testimony that law enforcement somehow put Blue Star on the floor of that house?
Ma'am, I have no idea what blood that is or when it was there, and unfortunately, law enforcement never tested that.
Yeah, but they tested and found that Blue Star was used. I can imagine that a seasoned attorney would know about Blue Star. Come on, man.
Right.
It's tough.
And so the blood on the futon that was Mindy's?
I have no idea how that blood got there, ma'am.
Okay.
I didn't spend a lot of time in that room, so
Yeah.
You lived in the house, right?
yes, ma'am.
Why did
It
he
was
say
also
that?
your testimony that
I didn't spend a lot of time in that
initially
room.
Jim was
Really?
an FBI agent, right?
I believed he was for, gosh, 2 years, over 2 years.
And at some point you determined that he was not, correct?
Yes.
You didn't move after you figured that out, right?
No, as I testified, we had a big argument about whether or not we should, stop dealing with him altogether.
Wow.
You also didn't move after your father and uncle showed up at your house, right?
That is correct.
You were moving hundreds, or at least, my apologies, at least 50 times,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes, at least 50 times, definitely.
Over 7 years, correct?
Yeah.
How long was it?
I have 5 years? Yeah.
5 years. So over 5 years, you kept moving because that man was your threat.
Yes, ma'am.
And when he showed up at your door with your uncle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't move.
No, ma'am. I asked to.
So
Oh,
at this
boy.
point, you actually knew he knew where you were.
Yes, ma'am.
You ran out the back.
After I talked to Jim, yes, I departed via the back of the house.
Right. You said you called Jim, didn't you?
Yes, on Signal. But you can make voice calls or I believe even video calls now through Signal.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yet when law enforcement spoke to you the first time in Pennsylvania, you said he just showed up. Right?
No, ma'am.
Law enforcement specifically asked you, how did Jim know where to find you? And you said he just showed up.
No, ma'am. I said it didn't take him long to get there, which I thought clearly indicated that I had contacted him. But apparently there was some confusion on Mr. Sand's part. He then later said that I was clearly asked that twice, and I've listened to that interview about 40 times, and I've never heard it asked even once, clearly.
Oh. Okay.
You've had access to all this material, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You knew what the state's case was, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
No documents here.
He's
with you today.
military. It's in his
No,
blood.
ma'am.
You indicated at some point that it was very important for you to figure out who of Mindy's friends would need to know, correct?
Absolutely, ma'am.
And you reached out to each of them, correct?
I did.
It's your testimony you had no idea that Mr. Frank and Mrs. Betsy thought you were dead?
No, ma'am, I did not.
So I'm showing you 1.87 and 1.88. Well, take a look at them. You've seen them before, right?
Yes, ma'am. I saw them when they were provided in Discovery.
Do you see the email address on that?
I do, ma'am. Yes.
That's Apis Limited, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be the same address
that's the
that you
company.
claimed was Jim McIntyre, correct?
I believe he had an APIS, but I'm not sure that I did not regularly email with him personally, so I believe at some point I saw an APIS limited address for him as he was reaching out to Frank and Betsy, but
Well, you just told the jury you worked for Apis Limited, right?
yes, ma'am. I believe so.
You got that employment verification from Marcus Jones at Apis Limited, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you believed you were working for Jim McIntyre, right?
Absolutely, ma'am.
That he was preserving all of your funds in a trust, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you bring the trust documents here?
No, ma'am.
In order
What's
to
going
start
on,
a
Nick?
trust, Mr. Cassotis, as an attorney, you know that there are actual documents you need to sign, right?
Absolutely, ma'am.
You never preserved any of those?
At some point, I lost them. I don't know exactly when.
Stop the cap.
He lost them. It's like when there's ever anytime there's an instance when Nick could have had something to show, he should have had something to show, it either disappeared, it was burned up, or he lost it. Come on, dude. Nick. No. I'm not buying it.
But I had them, and I provided them to Miss Thomas on at least one occasion.
Actually, when you went to court, you didn't provide the court with anything, did you?
I don't believe I was asked to.
That would be a no?
Yes, ma'am. That would be a no.
But you told the court you had $32 million.
Jeez.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Did you ever ask Jim to show you a copy of the check that he sent to Heather or the wire to pay her off?
Absolutely. I saw bank records showing a wire transaction to her.
And you saved all those?
No, ma'am. I believe I've been pretty clear about that.
Well, Heather was all but, from your description, stalking you for the money, right?
She was energetically looking for it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So energetically looking for it. You didn't think it was...
Yeah. What? He said Heather was energetically looking for the money. Yo, have y'all heard that before? I've never heard someone say that before. She was excitingly inquiring about the location of her $1.5 million. Jeez.
It's important to hold on to a
This
copy
guy.
of those?
No, ma'am. As I said, I stayed in that house for another 9 months. The house that Heather and I had shared when we were married, and never heard from her. She never stopped by. She never called my phone. I assumed that was over and done with.
At that point, you had moved and changed your name and your driver's licenses in 2 additional states, correct?
No, ma'am. This is years before that.
Okay. Now, initially, I believe you told us that you contacted
Jim
the
is Nick
FBI.
without glasses like
and
Superman.
that's when Jim showed up, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I recall correctly, what you said was you were very happy because normally you don't get any traction on a case like this.
Yes, ma'am. That was my fear.
But then Jim McIntyre, according to your testimony, spent the next 2 years acting as your basically personal assistant, social media provider, financial advisor, and Microsoft purveyor, correct?
I'm not sure I would use all of those, but he was somebody that we were dealing with very closely throughout all of this.
You thought that an FBI agent just decided to take you on with a case you didn't think that he was actually even going to investigate?
I had been worried that he wouldn't investigate it. I was very happy that it was being taken so seriously.
And it's your testimony to this jury that after 10 years in the JAG, you believed he was an FBI agent?
Absolutely. And I've dealt with law enforcement, both the state, the local, and federal law enforcement extensively. There was nothing that concerned me at that time.
So let me make sure I get this straight. Initially, you thought that the risk, based on your testimony, was because of the Washington Post article.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Then you thought it was Wayne, correct?
No, ma'am. Then we started looking at others. We looked at an ex-boyfriend of Mindy's, Heather, my ex-wife. Then we looked at a former boss of Angela's who had tried to assault Mindy. He was a very kind of rich and powerful man. And then...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And it wasn't until after we had exhausted those leads that he started looking at our immediate families.
Wow.
So when Jim McIntyre, you determined, did not work for the FBI,
Worst
He
JAG
probably
officer
told you
in
how
history.
he knew to come and see you and Mindy, right?
No, ma'am. And that is one of the things I've thought about extensively over the last 27 months as this case has gone on, that as to how he entered our life, I never followed up. And there are frankly a lot of mistakes I've made over the last 7 years of my life that I spend a lot of time thinking about.
He just showed up at your house and said he was the FBI.
Yes, ma'am.
Man, you gotta start giving the YN some ideas. They're gonna be showing up to people's house. FBI. Give me your bank account number. Routing number, account number, social security.
You heard testimony about Cameron Nelson's credit card, the Capital One card, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It's your testimony that all of those charges were being made by Jim McIntyre?
The majority of them, not all of them.
The Uber Eats purchases that came to the house in Savannah, those are done by Jim McIntyre?
This is bad.
We were never in Savannah while we were anything was being charged to Cameron's card.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And all of those transactions, the Uber car rentals, were those Jim McIntyre too?
The Uber car rentals?
Yeah, Uber.
I don't know anything about those, ma'am.
You never took an Uber on a credit card?
I have taken Ubers before. I have never, during this time, I never took an Uber, no.
So if the bank records show you taking Ubers and going places, that wasn't you?
That was not me, correct.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. You have an Uber app on your phone, correct?
I do now, yes.
So it's your testimony you never had an Uber app on your phone in 2022?
In 2022, I did. I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about Miss Nelson's credit card. Are you
I asked-
talking about my bank records or Miss Nelson's? I'm just not clear.
I'm talking about your bank records.
Oh, okay, yes. My bank records, yes. There were times I took an Uber.
But you told this jury you were afraid to leave the house, right?
Yes, ma'am. Every time I went out, it was scary.
But you fought through the fear and jumped in an Uber?
If I had things that needed to be done, then yes. I thought it was my job to take care of those things.
You didn't call Jim and say, hey, Jim, I need...
If I needed something to be done, I thought it was my job to take care of those things. But when my wife was in the hospital, allegedly, how many months pregnant? 8-something months pregnant. I'm not going to go see her.
Stop the cap.
a ride? Get me to this location? You're my security detail?
No, ma'am. Sometimes he would drive me places, but for regular errands, no. That was something that I dealt with. Either I had Mr. Frank Mebane drive me, or I would call an Uber.
Right, because on November 29th, you clearly went to Home Depot by yourself, right?
Yes, ma'am. At that point, I had a car, so I was not taking Ubers anywhere.
And it's your testimony to this jury that you never paid Jim McIntyre 1 penny. For how many years of service to you?
I believed that we were both benefiting from this.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you if you paid him.
No, I did not.
So in all of the years that he worked with you, you never paid him.
No, ma'am.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
And it was your testimony you met Frank first, or rather you met Jim first in Virginia, correct?
Yes, Alexandria, Virginia.
And then he followed you to what state next?
We saw him multiple times in Virginia. Then later we saw him in South Carolina and in Georgia.
And then you said you didn't see him much.
Yeah, I believe I only saw him once, maybe twice when I was in Delaware.
Okay. It was your testimony to law enforcement, or your statement, I should say, to be clear, that Jim McIntyre handled your finances the entire time.
Yes, ma'am.
That included setting up all of your Airbnbs, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Except the one in Savannah, because you bought that one, right?
Yes, ma'am. And there were
Which
two
makes
at
no
the very
sense.
beginning. One in Alexandria and one in Charlottesville that I set up personally.
Well, and don't forget the one in Hilton Head that you got for Frank and Betsy afterwards in your name too, right?
Yeah, that wasn't an Airbnb, but correct. I did set up that rental.
in the name Cassotus, right?
Yes, ma'am.
While you were still afraid that people were coming after you, and your wife now was already dead,
Makes no sense.
Yes, ma'am.
and you're still using your name Cassotus.
That was my legal name at the time. Yes, ma'am.
Makes no sense, Jim. Makes no sense.
And you said when you got the $300,000 from Sony, you didn't pay Cameron, right?
Correct, ma'am.
You didn't pay Heather, right? You thought that was paid,
I thought that was paid, ma'am.
right? At
Do
that
we have
point,
a receipt that's from Sony paying him?
that money was the money you and Mindy were living on, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Jim McIntyre didn't control that money, correct?
No, he did not. He said he was monitoring it and taking actions to prevent it, but he did not control that money.
So you did have $300,000 to your disposal, at least on June of 2022.
Absolutely. That was a non-negotiable point for us, was that we get to control our own money.
What? How?
Now, you talked about mosquitoes, right?
Absolutely, ma'am.
When you had problems with mosquitoes, that was when you first moved in, right?
It had started when we first moved in, but it got worse in, I want to say, mid-August.
Can you tell the jury how expensive the Airbnb was? How much did that cost?
I think it cost
$4,500.
about $4,500 a month, but I could be mistaken.
You called the owner, right, to get her to fix the mosquito problem.
No,
People
ma'am.
who don't even make that
You
much
decided
money.
to fix that yourself?
Yes, ma'am. This was a rule that we had for several years.
At $4,500 a month, you took on handyman jobs.
Absolutely, ma'am.
It was also your testimony that Mr. Frank and Mrs. Betsy left the residence the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they returned on that Sunday?
Yes, ma'am. That is the best of my recollection, but I'm pretty certain about it.
Well, you testified under oath to that,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So if you weren't sure, you would have told us that,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
There's also your testimony that your wife went into the hospital on Saturday, that weekend, correct?
I believe it was Saturday. There's a slight chance it could have been Friday, but I've thought about this a lot. I'm relatively certain it was Saturday.
Well, you just, again, testified under oath.
Yes, ma'am.
It was Saturday.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't give us an equivocation earlier,
Yes,
did you?
ma'am. No, ma'am, I did not.
And you said it was Saturday, correct?
Yes.
And you said that her parents came back on Sunday,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
You never told them what hospital, right?
No, ma'am.
Yeah,
I don't
your
believe they
insurance.
asked either.
And then it was your testimony that you talked to Mindy Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, correct?
I believed I talked to Mindy.
Okay. So that was a yes.
Yes, ma'am. I am uncertain. I think I've been pretty clear that I don't know if it was Mindy or not. It was a message from Mindy's Signal account.
But you could have called her on the Signal account, right?
As I said, I tried to call her, but she didn't have a good enough signal where she was, so we couldn't hear each other.
But you never talked to her after she went in, so how would you know that?
As I said, I tried to call her, and when we could not,
Answer the question, Nick.
verbally talk, we messaged each other via Signal.
And then you went to pick her up on December 1st, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You heard testimony from Dr. Mondor that
Prosecutor's great.
on December
She did a
1st,
great job.
she was already dead, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have no reason to disbelieve Dr. Mondor's estimation, do you?
I do not, ma'am, no. Which is why I have said I do not think I was talking to Mindy for most of that week.
And when you went to the birthing center and they told you that Mindy had passed, you didn't see Mindy, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
No.
I asked to, and I was told I was not able to at that time.
You never once referenced the baby during your direct examination when you talked to the doctor.
Well, ma'am, at this
baby?
point, I'd learned roughly a little over 2 years ago that there was no baby.
We didn't mention it to law enforcement either when they first approached you.
Nope.
No, ma'am. I guess I did not. I believe we talked about the pregnancy quite a bit, but not specifically the baby.
Not on the first interview, Mr. Kassotis. You didn't.
I'm relatively certain we talked quite a bit about how Mindy was pregnant and where I thought she was. Yes,
Wow.
ma'am.
Okay. Now, when you went to pick up your wife's ashes, you indicated that was in Alabama,
Yes, ma'am. Montgomery, Alabama.
and you gave him $5,000 cash.
Yes, ma'am.
No paperwork,
No, ma'am.
no name.
I'm sorry, no
Hey,
name.
didn't
come
give
get
you
your
his name?
wife.
He might have, ma'am. I'm unsure. I don't remember. It was a very brief meeting.
You received your wife's ashes on the side of the road, and you didn't get the man's name?
No, ma'am. I was pretty angry at him.
You're an attorney at the time, right?
This is crazy.
No, ma'am.
You weren't a lawyer at that time?
No, ma'am. I was not licensed at that time.
Well, you had put your license on hold, essentially, right?
Yeah, I had given up my Virginia license, but Massachusetts allows you to retire your license, and then if you want to turn it back on later, you just have to pay as if you were an active lawyer for all the years in between. So I am still, to this day, a retired attorney in Massachusetts.
But you didn't forget how to be a lawyer, is my point.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And receiving your wife's ashes on the side of the road in Alabama for $5,000 cash, you didn't think you needed any documents as an attorney?
No, ma'am. I was pretty angry about the entire exchange.
That was a no, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Why wouldn't you go back to the hospital and say, what happened to my wife? Who was the doctor? Where is she?
And I just want to make sure I
Where's the death
understand.
certificate?
Your car burst into flames in the condition we saw it in this courtroom on your way to purchase a house.
Yes, ma'am.
And you never bought the house.
No, ma'am.
That's a real estate transaction, correct?
That is a real estate transaction. Yes, ma'am.
Those require written documents, correct?
Absolutely, ma'am.
You lost
Hold on one
$50,000, you said, right?
I did, ma'am.
You have no records of that?
Ma'am, you have all my banking records. You can see the EMD coming right out of it.
Right. And your testimony is you don't have a record reflecting anything concerning that transaction that day?
Ma'am, you have all of my electronics, and that's how all these documents were. They were e-signed.
Well, actually, withdrawn. You never bought the house, right?
Correct, ma'am.
Because you had a check for $860,000, I believe you said, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That you said burnt up, right?
Along with parts of me, ma'am.
And when Investigator Frost said to you, what was so important that was in the car that you opened the door? Do you recall that?
It was my phone, ma'am.
Not the check for $860,000.
No, ma'am. In that moment, all I was trying to do was call for help.
You didn't care about a check for $860,000?
I absolutely cared about a check for $860,000. At that moment, I was trying to call for help. I did not realize that my car was about to burst into flames.
Detective Frost had to tell you about the check, didn't he?
No, ma'am. I remembered the check. I thought we were talking about something else.
I just want to make sure I confirm something. The police report against your father for the name change in Missouri,
Yes, ma'am.
that was September 30th of 2022, the incident, correct?
I believe so, ma'am. Yes.
When you are a victim of domestic violence, as alleged, that allows you to seal the name change, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
If you had not had a police report reflecting the need to seal it being domestic violence, you couldn't have gotten it sealed, right?
Well, ma'am, I thought there were many other reports at this time, but yes, I did rely on that one when I got it sealed. Yes, ma'am.
You submitted it, right?
Absolutely. Along with my medical records, I believe, from the assault in Virginia.
And Mr. Kassotis, when you received Mindy's remains, you had testified that it was so important to you and Mrs.
Super chat,
to figure out who would want to be notified, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You promptly called them to schedule them to be present when you distributed her ashes, right?
No, ma'am.
Hang on just one moment.
That doesn't make any sense either.
Mr. Kassotis, in anticipation of today's date, you located Mr. McIntyre, right?
No, ma'am.
So you've been talking to him basically on and off since what, 2017?
I started talking to him in fall of 2017, I believe, and we last spoke in, I want to say, mid-April of 2023.
So where'd he go? Thank you,
And
Kelly.
the records for Apis Limited, you subpoenaed those records in anticipation of court, correct?
No, ma'am.
You know what a subpoena is as an attorney, right, sir?
I do, ma'am.
And you knew that Mr. McIntyre was a majority investor, I think is the phrasing that you used, right?
That was what I believed, ma'am.
Oh boy.
You hired a private investigator to find him?
No, ma'am. I hope the state would do that, but y'all didn't really care that much.
Oh.
Objection.
Oh, shoot. Dang. Yo, Nick. Dang. Y'all hear that? Let me rewind that real quick. He said, why is it my responsibility to find Jim? Oh, my. Sheesh. That's crazy.
Mr. Kassotis, in anticipation of today's date, you located Mr. McIntyre, right?
No, ma'am.
So you've been talking to him basically on and off since what, 2017?
I started talking to him in fall of 2017, I believe, and we last spoke in, I want to say, mid-April of 2023.
Jane.
And the records for Apis Limited, you subpoenaed those records in anticipation of court, correct?
No, ma'am.
You know what a subpoena is as an attorney, right, sir?
I do, ma'am.
I mean, that's fair game.
And you knew that Mr. McIntyre was a majority investor, I think is the phrasing that you used, right?
That was what I believed, ma'am.
He does say mem.
You hired a private investigator to find him?
No, ma'am. I hope the state would do that, but y'all didn't really care that much.
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike. It's argumentative.
Let me see y'all together.
Look at Doug. Look at Doug. Doug. Doug's like, ooh. Dang, Nick. She said that's argumentative.
Let me see y'all to bench.
Look at Doug. Doug is loving it. He said, oh, whoops. Oh, hey, that's fair. She said, you do know what a subpoena is as an attorney, don't you? She asked Nick a question. Nick said, well, I thought y'all were going to do it, but you clearly didn't care that much. Ah, that's wild.
One moment.
Oh man, Nick kind of had her shook.
I'm
She
not
didn't
Your
like-
Honor.
Oh no!
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break.
Oh, you can't and cross like that. I said this yesterday. You cannot and cross examination like that. Why is she? What do y'all think about this, man? Let me know in the comments in the chat. What a way to go. What a way to go out. And the judge allowed it too. Hey, man. Nick must have known she was getting close to the end of her closing, because for him to take that shot at her right as she was done, brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. He should have told her she can't handle the truth. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. All right, shout out to those of y'all not only who have liked the video, but send in some super chats too. Let me read these real quick. We've got Slim Life New Jersey in here with the 5 bomb. She says, good morning, family. I hope you all have a great day. Whatever you do, make sure it makes you happy. Shout out to my favorite host and hostess. Thank you, Slim Life. Thank you for the support, consistently showing up and showing love. I appreciate you for sure. And I hope you have an amazing day. Kelly Berg in the building. Yes, Kelly Berg is not feeling the results of our poll right now. Kelly Berg says with the 2 bomb, 4% say not guilty. What? Pay attention, people. Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. We've got some more of you that responded. So far, 4% not guilty, 3% guilty of just murder, 13% guilty on some counts, 79% guilty on all counts. Not surprised at all. This case is insane. Very, very wild stuff. Thank you for that, Kelly. And then my guy Brock is in the building too. Shout out to Brock up in here. He says, shout out to my guy. I see you working hard, Chief. Always, every day. Keep grinding and chasing the bag. Salute. Shout out to the bag chasers. Salute to my guy Brock. Salute to my dog, the man, Anton Daniels as well. And the bag chasers over there doing it big. All right, let me see who else. Did I get everybody in here? All right, so I think we're gonna go ahead and get into closing arguments here. And if y'all haven't heard these yet, it's definitely going to be interesting. Let me go ahead and move forward. I got to change and update the headline so we can get into it. So we'll go closing. I don't know if I can put arguments in there, so we'll just put closing. I think Doug goes first. So let's go ahead and see what the judge has to say. Quick.
So if you go out with the bailiff, we'll have you in back in just a few minutes.
Dang. Why is she letting Nick cook her like that? That's crazy. Let's go ahead and let's skip ahead here. Hold on.
Everyone just remain seated, and this won't be but a second.
That was a tough way to end the cross-examination. Nick just got one shot in there. He was nice the whole time. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And then at the end, just dang. I said, look at that haircut. I know. I'm skipping way ahead. Skip ahead. We might just need to skip ahead and get into. Oh, I know what we're getting. This is Doug's motion for a directed verdict, I believe. It's not gonna happen.
In the back of a truck, with
are not your.
No, we already got to that. Here we go.
Why do you believe these are not your totes?
We had our totes for years. We moved with them over 50 times probably. They were outside in the back of a truck, sometimes getting rained on. the stickers look pretty new on the sides. I understand it's kind of hard to tell because these have been, I think, dusted for and had something applied to them. But these stickers look pretty new, and we didn't even have stickers left on ours anymore.
You stated that
He said those aren't my
the
totes.
Milwaukee knife that was shown by the prosecutor is definitely not the knife that you bought. How are you so definitive about that?
Because I saw that knife in Pennsylvania, the Milwaukee knife that I purchased.
Where is
When
it?
you began to communicate with Samantha, you did not use Signal, correct?
Correct, sir.
Why didn't you use Signal to communicate with Samantha when you used Signal to communicate with everybody else?
I use Signal to communicate with people in my life who really knew me and who I was, frankly, knew what was going on, knew more where I was, what I was dealing with. People I was
Makes no
making
sense.
what I viewed as small talk with, I did not use Signal.
How did you communicate with Samantha?
That makes
We
zero
initially
sense.
spoke via Twitter direct message, and then later spoke via WhatsApp.
Did you Twitter direct message with anyone else other than Sam?
Absolutely.
And I believe you said WhatsApp. Did you use WhatsApp with anyone other than Samantha?
Yes, though not as many people. WhatsApp is another encrypted messaging app. I believe it's owned by Facebook. So most people I spoke with off of there, or I spoke to on WhatsApp, would also have been people I spoke to on Signal. So, but there were, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 people somewhere in there that I spoke to on WhatsApp.
Come on, man. Good morning, D.
The prosecutor brought up that you did not receive any paychecks from Apis Security, correct?
Yes, sir.
How did you get paid from Apis Security?
My understanding was that the payments were going into a trust until such time that it was safe for us to receive the money.
Renaissance Bank, you say you did not
That
go
is
into
crazy.
the bank to open that account.
That is correct.
How did you open that account without going into the bank?
I was given the name of I believe his name is David Anderson. He's a manager at the Dunwoody. I don't know where Dunwoody is. I think it's up by Atlanta. The
I know where
Dunwoody
Dunwoody
branch
is.
of the Renaissance Bank. He dealt with a friend of mine, and she said that he would be somebody to help. I needed a bank account, and he was nice enough to do it. I had to send him my identification, the
I wanna
signature
go up there
form.
and interview him.
But he set it up over the phone. Later, I went into Renaissance Bank multiple times, but in different branches. But I've actually never met Mr. Anderson because I never made it to Atlanta.
I know where that is.
When did your name change become official in Missouri?
January 4th, 2023.
Where did you go into Social Security in order to have Social Security change your name?
Wilmington, Delaware.
And when did you do that in Delaware?
About a week later, we were just talking about the dates. It was the date I got my Delaware driver's license, but I forget. It was
You're about
roughly
to
a
get
week
fired.
later.
So just to clarify,
If it was really him.
the same day or a different day in Delaware? You went to Social Security?
I went to
and the
Social
driver's-
Security and DMV on the same day in Delaware. It was the end of a week. I believe it was a Friday.
Why didn't you go see your wife when she was in the hospital and she was 8 months pregnant?
Great question.
I was talking to her. I didn't think there was any reason that I would not be seeing her shortly, and I thought that it was safer not to.
I'm trying to understand what you mean when you say you were talking to her.
I was messaging with her on Signal. Again,
Come on, bro.
at this point, it seems like I was not talking to her, but at the time, I assumed I was. Everything seemed fine.
Okay. Your court date with Heather in Virginia was in January of 2019. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
How much longer did you remain in the marital house that you had previously had with Heather after that January 2019 court date?
Until late October 2019. I don't recall the exact date, but I remember that it was during the World Series because it was a big deal in the area. The Nationals were in it.
As far as you are
Nice.
aware, did Heather know that you were still in that house?
As far as I am aware, yes, she did.
And did you ever see her come by that house after January of 2019?
Never once, and we had a camera looking at the driveway in the front of the house.
Nice.
We heard that you did not move when your father, Wayne, showed up at your house in Savannah, correct?
That is correct.
Why didn't you move?
We spoke to Mr. McIntyre about it. I wanted to leave, roughly 5 minutes after I saw him. He said that we had to calm down and think about things. He said that whatever the leak was, it was related to one of the delivery services because he had come to the address in Savannah, which was not an address we received mail at. We would sometimes get packages from Amazon.
Bro, this makes no sense, dude. This guy's lying so much. I can't do it anymore. He was taking Ubers. He was going to the store by himself. But now there's some random security leak. He was using his card to buy stuff at Home Depot.
Amazon, but never mail. Our mail went either to Atlanta or to Florida. So he said since he came there, it was a delivery address for an online service, either a DoorDash or an Uber Eats, something like that, maybe Instacart. He said that we were going to change what we did. We were going to change our rules on how we lived physically, and that I was going to have to go out more afterwards, which didn't really please me, but to pick up food, to do grocery shopping, to pick up meals for us.
Did you make any changes around that house after your father showed up?
Absolutely.
What changes did you make?
For roughly 2 months, we were not allowed to park in the driveway. We were forced, both me and Mindy and Frank and Betsy were forced to park our cars down the road. When I went in and out, I had to go out through the back, walk all the way around the block to my car so it wouldn't appear that I was coming from the house. We kept all the shades facing the house or the street drawn at all times. We were not allowed to turn on extra lights other than the lights that were on that morning. There was one on in the kitchen. So anything facing the front of the house, we had nothing else. We were all living in very dim, through some very dim nights.
Guys, y'all aren't going to believe this. We might have a verdict. I was just looking at the law and crime chat. It looks like they might have a verdict. Oh my goodness. One of the moderators over in their chat says, our team on the ground says there is a verdict. What? Oh my gosh. The judge is in the courtroom right now. I can see him. Oh man, that would be wild. I could see the judge. Hold on, I'll show y'all. I'll show you what I just saw. You can see the judge moving around the courtroom. Hold on. And he's saying something. And it looks like there is a verdict. This is the fastest verdict I've ever seen. Here, I'll show you guys. Didn't even make it to lunch. Who was that? Les Cleaver that said before lunch? You can see the judge there at the bottom right. He's over there talking and saying something. Then we've got one of the mods over on Law and Crime says, shout out to Alexandra McDonald. Says there is a verdict. We are trying to stop the clock. 1 hour and 3 minutes of deliberation. Yikes. Yeah, it's technically 1 hour and 3 minutes. Let's see. Only an hour of deliberation. Oh, man. Jim is cooked. Absolutely cooked. Let me see. I'm gonna check over. A verdict is reached, says Kathy. Wow. Yep, they have a verdict. We're about to go through it right now. That is insane. What do you guys think the verdict's gonna be? right, I'm gonna keep an eye on this. And oh well, this is embarrassing. Look at we're back in court, guys. Look at his sister looking at him. Oh, and I gotta rewind this. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it's happening. Doug said, "Don't rush, take your time, go through all the evidence." They said, "Oh hell no, bro, what you talking about?" He's done. This is insane. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. It looks like they already have a verdict.
Very emotional case.
This is shocking.
And I'm going to ask everyone in this courtroom to be very respectful as the verdict is read. We don't want any emotional outbursts.
I cannot believe this.
And if you're unable to restrain yourself, the deputies will more than likely remove you from the courtroom. So please be respectful. Let's maintain the dignity of this courtroom. And at this time, I'm going to ask the bailiff to have the jury come in.
Wow. That's insane. I can't believe this. This is the fastest verdict I've ever seen in my life since we've been watching these trials. Wow. Look at Nick. He's like, yeah. Yeah, no. We tried.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Here we go.
All right, sir, are you the foreman of the jury?
Yes, sir.
It's my understanding that the jury has reached a verdict.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Is it a unanimous verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has it been reduced to writing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Have you signed and dated it as the foreman of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you would please hand the verdict form to the bailiff.
Insane.
I'm going to ask that the deputy clerk publish the verdict.
In the Superior Court of Liberty County, State of Georgia, case number 2024R-67, State of Georgia versus Nicholas James Cassotus. Count 1, malice murder, guilty. Count 2, felony murder, guilty. Count 3, aggravated assault, guilty. Count 4, concealing death of another, guilty. Count 5, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, guilty. Count 6, possession of a tool for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 7, possession of a tool for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 8, possession of a tools for the commission of the crime, guilty. Count 9, possession of a tool for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 10, possession of tools for the commission of the crime, guilty.
Oh, they're showing
Count
the
11,
now.
removal of the body parts from the scene of the death, guilty. Count 12, tampering with evidence, guilty.
Dang.
On this 14th day of August 2025.
I'm surprised they showed the jury though.
Do the
was,
attorneys wish to see the verdict to make sure that it's in proper form?
No,
this
Your
video
Honor.
might not be
Are
up.
there any objections to the form of the verdict?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Are there any other requests before we go into another hearing?
No, no, no,
No request from
no,
the defense, Your Honor.
no, no, no.
If I can just have one moment, Your Honor.
Hey, hey, goodbye. Yeah, we knew it. We called it again, guys. We're what? 4 for 4, 5 for 5 now on predictions. There's no way. This was the easy one. No, this was a layup. Almost like Tay K's trial. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Nothing concerning the jury, Your Honor.
All right. And does either side wish to place anything on the record before I excuse the jury?
No, Your Honor, and I also don't seek to poll, just for the record.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we've been here almost 2 weeks, and I wish to thank each and every one of you for your service. It is one of the highest forms of civic duty that any citizen can render to this state and this country, and we cannot resolve important cases like this without your willingness to serve. You've been diligent. You've been here every morning on time. You've been taking notes.
He's like, yeah, whatever.
You have done excellent work
Called Jim.
as a juror in this case, and it is sincerely appreciated, not only by me, but everybody involved in the criminal justice system. Your duty ends at this point, and I'm going to have to go into a sentencing hearing. There is one other thing that I do want to mention to you. I think you knew at the outset that this case was going to be televised, live streamed through various media outlets, and I want you to know that you have a right as a juror and as a private citizen. People may want to talk to you about this. Well, at this point, you can talk about it if you want to. That's totally within your discretion. It's my understanding that some of the media outlets may be outside. They may want to speak to you. That's solely up to you. I have no control over that. That's up to you. So when you see individuals who might be with the press or other outlets,
He's probably gonna get
if
sentenced
you want to
today,
speak
too.
to them, that's fine. And if you don't want to speak to them, that's also fine.
And the
So-
judge knew this, man. The judge said, hey, y'all ain't coming back up in here. Y'all heard it. The judge said, hey, this is the last time I'm going to talk to you. If they were deliberating until tomorrow, the judge would have to talk to them again in the morning, just like Cannoni did in the Karen Reed trial, and say, okay, well, you guys weren't watching anything. You weren't influenced. You didn't talk about it, right? The judge was like, no, this is the last time I'm talking to y'all. Go ahead and this is a big case. They're going to let me take the rest of the weekend off. I got a 4-day weekend, got a tea time, can play with the grandkids. Go ahead and wrap this up. Crazy.
There's nothing else I can tell you other than I sincerely appreciate your hard work in this case. I wish you well, and you are excused at this time. Thank you very much.
He looked at his family. What did he say? Doug taking his first L. Oh yeah, so shout out to Tropical Smoothie. Got to give them their free promo.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and lock him up. Wow. And then it looks like we're probably going to have sentencing today too.
Everyone, please be seated.
His sister's crying.
And I want to tell four of you, thank you very much for your service. The reason we select alternates is someone were to get sick or not able to perform their duties as a juror, you would have filled in. But your work was also very helpful to the court.
Amy said Doug still won. He got paid regardless. Dang. That's brutal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in recess for about 10 minutes, and then we will begin the sentencing hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Dang on, the judge is not playing around, man. He said, I am not doing any paperwork this weekend. Y'all can figure it out. Wow, there it is, guys. We're going to get to the sentencing here shortly. What do you guys think about this trial? What a mess. I mean, this entire story that Nick was trying to sell, that Doug Weinstein, let's be honest, the only time he tried to sell it was during opening and closing statements. So you got the prosecution giving out some hugs over there. They did an excellent job. GBI, near flawless investigation. Could they have done more? Maybe. Did they need to?
Oh, hell no.
No. Nick was there. He was the last one with her. He had the tools. He had the means. He had the motive. The car was seen. His phone was there. He turned off his phone. He dumped the body. What else do you need to see? And wow, Nick is allowed to hug his family. Look at the dad. Oh, man. Aww. His dad went up there and whooped his you-know-what. And still crying. I can't believe it. His mother probably can't believe she birthed the murderer. A convicted murderer. Jeez, man. And then you got Mindy's mother over there. Still pretty stoic. That's interesting. Very interesting. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. All right, let me read some of y'all's comments, man. Y'all are showing major love up in here. Shout out to the gang. Just like that, it's over. Amy says, if you're happy with this verdict, super chat. Shout out to Amy. Let me see. I did miss a couple of super chats I need to read. Amy says, Doug still won. He got paid regardless. She ain't wrong. My dog CPE is in the building with the 5-bomb. Just showing some love. Thank you, CPE. Aww. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you always showing up, always showing support. We've got my awesome, amazing Amy in here as well, saying it's cake time. It's almost time for lunch. It's a little early for, well, it's never too early for a cake. Am I right? Especially when Amy's bringing it. Shout out to Amy. Thank you so much for the love and support as well. She does so much on this channel. Y'all see her putting in work in the chat. You don't even see all the stuff that she does behind the scenes for the show as well. Thank you, Amy, for everything that we do. All right. We've also got Poetic Justice in here with the 2 bombs. Says excellent coverage. Thank you so much. Not everybody likes the way we cover it here, but I always appreciate y'all appreciating the show because I have a good time. I love interacting with y'all in the chat, hearing what you have to say. And let's be honest, there aren't a lot of places like this. There aren't a lot of places to where we can have the conversation while the trial is ongoing. It's interactive, and we really act as if we're a jury in the court of public opinion. And that is why I think we are so accurate and so easily able to see and predict the outcome of these cases, just like we did today. My guy, Les Cleaver, what did he say? I got to go back and find his super chat. Les Cleaver called it. He said, we will see. What did he say? I pray each of you have a blessed day, have a blessed and have a great and wonderful day. Please stay safe and cool. I love each of you as God loves you. What did Les Cleaver say about Nick? He said, we will see Nick convicted by noon. He called it. You know why? Because we're here as the jury in the court of the public opinion. We could just as easily be sitting on this jury. If we're in the right place at the right time, it could happen. So again, we called it. I think we're 5 for 5 now, something like that. I mean, technically, it's probably more than 5 for 5, but who's keeping count? We all know what Amy does behind the scenes.
Hey,
she is good at and amazing at everything she does. Shout out to Amy. Happy to watch this verdict and case with y'all. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Feel for this family. They have to be hated upon because of their son's actions. Same with Brian Koberger's family. Les Cleaver is back. Hey, look at him. Guilty in less than 2 hours. Les, you called it. I was just giving you your props, man. You called it. Less than an hour and a half. 1 hour and what? 13 minutes? 3 minutes? Yeah, the prosecution did an immaculate job. Immaculate job. We've also got Jay Money in here again with the 10 bomb. He says, dope trial coverage. What's next on the agenda, Classy Beats? Me and Amy were talking about this morning. This next trial, the next big trial we're going to cover is going to be tough, guys. It's the Naziah Harris trial. That is coming up, I believe, in about, is it 4 weeks? Close to 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks from now. And all you fathers out there, all you mothers out there, that trial is going to be a tough one. Jay Money, I did all the research for you. So if you want to go back and watch the pre-trial, just type in my name or the name of this channel and then type in Naziah Harris. Even if you type in Naziah Harris, honestly, I think we were really the only ones other than Detroit. What is it? Detroit News. I wish I could give them their props. I want to say News 10. We're the only ones who were covering it regularly. So if you type in Naziah Harris trial on YouTube, you'll find it, or you can just go to my channel and type it in. That's going to be a tough one. So, yeah, do your research up on that. Go watch the pre-trial, the preliminary hearings and pre-trial coverage that we did. That one's tough. And the interesting thing about that trial is I still think there's a possibility that Jarvis Butts is found not guilty just because there's no body and we aren't sure, possibly beyond a reasonable doubt, what happened to Naziah Harris. So he's going to be found guilty of something because as you'll see, as the evidence is shown throughout this case, I mean, this guy was the complete scum of the earth and he should be thrown under the jail, whether he's guilty of the murder or not. And he will be. But when it comes to the actual murder of Naziah, that's something that we're going to have to see how that plays out. But yeah, definitely appreciate you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. What? Dr. EJ. Oh my gosh. Dr. EJ with the biggest super chat on this channel ever. Dr. EJ just dropped not 100, not 200, not 300, not 400. Just dropped a $500 super chat. Oh my gosh. I'm shocked. Dr. EJ, thank you. Wow, what does he say? Great coverage, my guy. Much respect to you and the beautiful Amy E. Aww. Shout out to the beautiful Amy E. Great channel, Dr. EJ. Since day one, he came to this channel. He has been supporting, not just through super chats, but showing love, giving some great comments in the chat, and truly, truly rocking with the content that we have here. He does so much, not only in this channel, but on the professional side as well. He's amazing at the work he does. And Dr. EJ, I cannot thank you enough for the consistent support you show. And not just only on this show, also coming over to the Song of the Night Live, where we host music reviews. Dr. EJ's over there. I mean, wow, so much love, so much support. So effortless. I'm just up here talking, man. I'm just up here talking. Dr. EJ showing so much love. Thank you, Dr. EJ. I appreciate you for everything that you do. Appreciate you for the support. It means everything. And it's always great to see you in here too. True professional. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Dr. EJ. That is the biggest super chat I've ever gotten on the show. So I'm keeping that super chat up there for the rest of the show. Hey, I wish I could keep it up there for a whole week. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you, Dr. EJ. Wow. And I know he's going to say, treat Amy to a nice dinner or some dessert. I got you, Dr. EJ. We'll make sure she gets taken care of. ClassE, you deserve it. You always come through daily. We're just consistent, man. I don't deserve anything, but I'm thankful for everything. So Dr. EJ, thank you. Says, appreciate your hard work, my friend. I appreciate your hard work. Yes, I appreciate you. Miss Jones says, song reviews too. When are those? Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here. Make sure you check it out. We'll be here live tomorrow night as well. Wow. Now that's putting your money where ClassE's mouth.
Hey, yo.
Shout out to you. You owe that man a good dinner. I owe Dr. EJ more than a good dinner. And I think Amy will back that up too. So shout out to Dr. EJ. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Death penalty or life? Do they have the death penalty in Georgia? Yes. Yeah, I believe they do. I believe we do. I should say they. Like, I'm not here. I'm so glad you found this case. Where did you find out about this? It wasn't on the agenda. That's why I asked. That's a great question. Where did I find out about this? That is a great question. I don't remember, to be honest. Amy will know. I have no idea. I want to say where did I see this? It had to have been somebody that told me about it. Either it was Law and Crime. It wasn't Law and Crime. It was somebody. Dr. EJ says, I know YouTube tax that, so I wanted to do something extra. Thank you, Dr. EJ, again. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, we're taking the whole family out. Shout out to Dr. EJ. It's the biggest super chat I've ever gotten on this channel. Absolutely amazing. Wow. Yeah, shout out to Dr. EJ. Folio murder trial is coming up on the 18th. Yeah, that's going to be a good one too. We will definitely be here for that. The 18th as in, what is that, Monday? Let me see. Oh, yeah, we'll have to cover that one in the meantime. I know a lot of people are going to be looking out for that, especially after we covered the Queso trial as well. No, it's too late, Amy. He already gave it up. Oh, man. I think his last snarky statement just shows his pattern of blaming everyone else. If you were charged with murder and most of your story was about Jim, wouldn't you find him? Not to mention, we didn't hear much from Nick about how much he cared about Mindy, how close they are. We heard a lot about Nick saying how he was protecting himself, how he was scared, how he was doing this, he was doing that. We didn't hear, oh, Mindy, I loved her. I cared about her. I couldn't stay away from her. He's like, well, I was messaging her. I didn't need to visit her at the hospital. What? So, I mean, what's the big deal? I thought she was alive. Jim told me she was alive. Come on, man. Yeah, we do have the death penalty. I thought so. I wonder is there anybody on death row right now here? Let's find out. How many? Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, of course they have the death penalty. We got some stories we could tell y'all about the death penalty, but we'll have to save that for the meetup or something. How many people are on death row in this little state right here? So when it comes to the death penalty, As of June 30th, 2024, Georgia has 33 men and one woman. What? For a total of 34 people on death row.
Council ready to
Wow.
proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Everyone please be seated.
Oh, he finna get the book thrown at him. Someone get him a catcher's mitt. I did not check out Aaron Spencer, no.
All right, in case number 2024 R67, the jury having reached a verdict of guilty as to all 12 counts
Judge
in the
ready to go,
indictment,
man.
is the state ready to proceed with sentencing?
The state is ready to proceed with sentencing, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
The defense is ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Does the state have evidence in aggravation?
Yes, Your Honor. The state intends to call two witnesses and one statement that I will ask Ms. Ashdown, our victim witness advocate, to read. So the state would call, would the court like me to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state would call Megan Mevin to the stand.
Oh, so we're doing all of this? Hold on, I didn't.
Ms. Mevin will be speaking on behalf of the family of Mindy Mevin, Your Honor.
All right, so now we're about to get to the
You would still be
sentencing
there?
and the
She might
family's
be more
impact
comfortable
statement.
just sitting right there.
We got Mindy's sister up here. Wow.
Please raise your right hand before you're seated.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
They have her sworn in?
I just ran up the stairs, so sorry if I'm.
Just hold on. Just catch your breath.
Okay, let's see.
Take it easy.
All right. I've kept up with the entire trial and decided to drive 3 hours this morning to be here because I couldn't let this chapter of my life end without at least saying something.
She was watching the show.
Unlike you, I have cried a lot over the last few weeks. My thoughts, anxiety, and emotions have been a roller coaster. They have been all over the place while having to deal with this trial. I go through anger, sadness, frustration, grief, stress, and every feeling that you can think of. You lived with us for 15 months with providing no financial contributions. 15 months that I will never be able to get back. At times when you lived with us, I told you how your actions had affected me, and this impact statement isn't much different. Whether you take away anything from this, that is not my intention at this point. You've shown no guilt and absolutely no remorse. You haven't even shed a tear.
He tried.
You thrive on the illusion of power and attention. You're a pathological liar, sociopath, psychopath, murderer. You thought you were so much smarter than everyone else, but you aren't. You wanted people to believe you were a victim of abuse, while you were the one being abusive, at least mentally. You have forever changed the meaning of trust for me and our family. I can no longer trust people in the same way as I did before you continuously lied and ultimately took Mindy's life. Mm-hmm. There will always be some questions that will go unanswered, but to answer them would mean to try to understand a murderer's mindset, and that is one I will never understand.
Amen.
Mindy was bright, beautiful, empathetic, confident, independent. She loved music and making others feel special.
Dang.
She always put her family and friends first. Once my husband Frank and I had our daughter, Mindy wanted to choose a name that was different than the traditional aunt name. She decided on Lulu. She was never able to hear her sweet niece call her that.
Dang.
My daughter was 5 months old when y'all moved in. She will never know the fun times they experienced together. I'm thankful my daughter does not remember the 15 months you lived with us and sat right next to her at the dinner table. My daughter will never be able to experience the love her Aunt Mindy would have continued to give her.
Oh, man.
Mindy was taken too soon. No one should have to live through the violent and gruesome murder of a family member. You're a very evil man. When I learned the news of what really happened to Minnie, some of my first thoughts were that I couldn't believe that evil man lived in my house in a bedroom next to my 5-month-old daughter. You have no remorse for what you did. This loss has impacted so many beyond our family. The emotional wound you have caused will never heal. We have comfort knowing she is in heaven now, free from the trials and scars of this earth. We have overcome hatred, darkness, and evil. She is looking down on us now, being proud of how we have overcome. We are done being victims. We are taking back our lives. Since I'm a science person, I'm going to quote Isaac Newton. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Our family believes you deserve the maximum sentence, life without the possibility of parole, because Mindy doesn't have a parole. You deserve to sit in prison for the rest of your life and think about Mindy every single day.
He will.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that sound? That's the judge winding up the book, getting ready to throw it at Nick.
Your Honor, at this time the state would call Morgan Paddock.
I can't wait to hear what the judge says to Nick, because he's been awfully chill during this trial.
You can raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
There are people literally all over this world that have been impacted by Mindy's life, and I'm here to speak on behalf of them. I always say my worlds collided with Mindy. Not only was she my high school friend, but after moving to Savannah, all of my college friends became her friends too. My roommates became her roommates. My church group became her church group. This entire trial has rightly been focused on what happened to Mindy, but Mindy was so much more than what happened to her. She was a bright light, vibrant, generous, funny, caring, a defender of others, passionate, trustworthy, and so much more. If anyone in her life would have been in her position, she would be standing right here today speaking for them. Nick, you slowly and strategically tried to dampen her light, isolating her from the people she deeply loved, robbing her of time, laughter, creating memories and peace, always living in fear and isolation. She loved you and trusted you to tell her the truth, to protect her, to live out your marriage vows, and yet you were the one that she needed protection from. Her death has had and will have an eternal impact on those that loved her. There are dinner tables and holiday pictures and memories that will be absent of her. There are little girls growing up without their fairy godmother. There are friends who will always ache to dress up and go out for drinks again. Email inboxes void of her opinions on the latest happenings in politics. friends who can't expect her to stand with them in their proudest and hardest moments. Friends who won't have her in the audience of their concerts or harassing them for their latest released music. My everyday life in Savannah is now filled with the awareness that my friend was living and suffering within walking distance of my house. And I never knew. I will never be able to drive down 65th Street, go to a Smoothie King, pick up meds at CVS, or buy tennis shoes at our local shoe store without being haunted by the fact that you were frequenting all of those places for 5 months while my friend of over 20 years was suffering in fear and isolation as I drove mere feet from her driveway.
Yeah, you don't think about that.
But it's not just me and her friends that will miss out. This entire world is impacted by the ending of her life too soon. There are compelling women whose stories she will never get to tell on her podcast. There are strangers who will never know the beauty of the sound of her laughter or the impact of her most fiercest eye roll. Your conviction can't bring her back. It just means that you can't do it to anyone else. But every person you heard from on the stand and the many who are watching right now from a distance will never stop keeping the truth of who she was and her memory alive. You may have taken her life, but you will never be able to take her legacy, and she would want you to know that today.
Wow.
Your Honor, the state has one final statement that I'm going to ask to be read into the record. That statement would be read by Ms. Samantha Ashdown, our victim witness advocate, on behalf of Samantha Kolyesnik.
All right. And the defense will object to the reading of that statement, as Ms. Kolyesnik, while obviously a victim of the circumstances here, is not a victim under the law that would be entitled to read the statement to the court.
Well, Judge, my position on that, as the court is aware, is that this is evidence in aggravation, not a victim impact statement.
It is. I'll overrule the objection. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Dang. What's up, Tesla?
Yes. There's no need to swear.
She's been in court most of the
To
time.
the court and to the Honorable Judge Rose. My name is Samantha Kolyesnik, and I am a victim of the defendant, Nicholas Kassotis, a.k.a. Nicholas Stark, the latter of which is the name he used while victimizing me in Pennsylvania. You were able to hear my testimony against Nicholas during this trial, and you were able to hear and see my pain and my tears firsthand. I recounted his horrible acts of deception against me. I trembled taking the stand to testify. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I did it because I feel Nicholas is a true and constant danger to everyone he meets. I feel that if given the chance, Nicholas will continue to exploit, abuse, deceive, and harm others. I testified knowing I would be filmed against my consent and that I would be humiliated in admitting I was defrauded by a man I met online and that my privacy would be forever gone. I testified anyway because I strongly feel and believe that Nicholas is a danger to society and that he must be held accountable. Ms. Bayo, ADA for the prosecution, mentioned ripples from Nicholas's dropping stone as an analogy for an impact of his choices. I am one ripple. I have not been the same since I found out about his deception from Agent Sands, and I will never be the same again. On the date of his arrest, when Agent Sands of the GBI told me Nicholas Stark was not his real name and that Nicholas had been lying to me, my entire world turned upside down. My sense of trust shattered. I felt humiliated, deceived, traumatized, and unsure if I would ever be able to feel joy or hope or trust again. I also felt stupid and will continuously be called stupid and gullible by some in the public eye as a result of trusting a man as a result of trusting a man who
Not by
was
me.
once a naval officer, a JAG, an employee of the Pentagon, a man who had every opportunity and privilege in life. Everyone trusted Nicholas, and he knew it, and he privately relished and delighted in lying to them and in abusing that trust. He is a man who delights in deception, a man who thinks he's smarter than everyone in the room he walks in. I also felt terrified beginning on the date of his arrest and thereafter, and will forever be haunted by what he would have potentially happened to me if the GBI and Detective Jack Frost's team had not tracked, found, and arrested Nicholas Stark, aka Kassotis, when they did. I fully believe that the wonderful law enforcement agencies of Georgia saved my life that day, and I will be forever grateful to them for saving me from the evil man who goes by many names, one of them being Nicholas Stark. I was diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, as a result of Nicholas Stark's cruel actions towards me. I have nightmares, flashbacks, and panic attacks. I lock my bedroom door every night. I do not feel deceived by Nicholas Stark, aka Cassotus. I feel raped by him. I was not allowed to consent to a romantic and intimate relationship with Nicholas because he lied about his entire identity to me. There was no opportunity for true consent, and he ensured that with his vast network of lies. This is called rape by fraud, but unfortunately is not recognized in Pennsylvania, so all I could do was pursue an annulment on the basis of his fraud. I am sure Nicholas Stark, since he is a lawyer after all, knew those statutory limitations when he deceived me. I do not feel Nicholas feels 1 ounce of shame or remorse for his deceptions against many people, including those he perpetrated against me. He has sat in this courtroom and has attempted to make every mockery of it with his smug expressions, his arrogant demeanor, and his lack of tears as his victims, one after the other, have talked about how he deceived them. I beg and implore and plead to the court, please give this man the maximum sentencing. And please, if at all possible, by sentencing protocol and legislation, please do not allow this man to do paid interviews or in any way profit from his crimes. Nicholas, due to his sick need for control and his sadistic desire to humiliate and defraud others, will absolutely try to profit off his crimes in prison. Please do not allow Nicholas to write books or to sign movie deals or even take paid interviews. He must not be allowed to extract any more from the victims than he already has taken so much. I also ask that he not be granted any chance for parole. A man who lies as much as Nicholas has and will always be a danger to society, especially the most trusting and vulnerable among us. Sincerely, Samantha Kolesnik.
Thank you.
Those are the only evidence of aggravation that the state intends to present. Do you wish the state's argument, or do you wish to have mitigation
I'll wait till I hear
first?
from the defense.
Get the book
Does
ready,
the defense
Judge.
have any evidence in mitigation?
Just like to present the defendant's mother to testify in mitigation.
You may.
His mother's gonna talk? Oh. No, Mom. Don't do this, Mom. Don't do this.
Wayne Kassotis.
You can come up here, sir.
Wayne, please. Please, Wayne, don't do this. No. This is not going to go
Can
well.
we swear you in, sir?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to mute myself.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Absolutely.
Don't do this, Wayne.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Heard a lot of things in this courtroom this morning. Last over 2 years have been hell for all of us, including Nicholas. Although I don't agree with the verdict that was reached in this court, that the jury reached, I do respect the process. They have no idea who Nicholas was. Nicholas is a kind, gentle man that has touched thousands of lives,
Wayne.
both as a civilian and as a military person. Nobody saw pictures of him helping underprivileged children in South America
No,
as a
Wayne.
naval officer.
No, Wayne. No.
Nobody saw him helping friends as he was growing up. He is truly a wonderful, kind person. And from the beginning, when this all broke, from the lies that Agent Sand told to family members, we never believed that this was possible, and we still do not believe that this is possible. We know the person sitting there, our son, as a kind and gentle person that would not do this.
Then why'd you
there's
beat the
really no
shit out of
evidence
him,
that showed
Wayne?
That he did. I just want you to be considerate and look at the man who he is and who he always will be. Thank you, Your Honor.
Jesus.
Thank you, Mr. Cassotis. Thank you very much.
What?
The defense calls the defendant's mother, Linda Kassotis.
Linda, sit down, Linda. Listen, Linda. Linda, listen,
Ma'am,
Linda.
you're welcome to stand here, or you can go up there.
Don't do this.
Please raise
I'm
your
begging you, please,
Swear or
Linda.
affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh my God, this is brutal.
Your Honor, I would like to say first how incredibly sorry we are for Mindy's family that they had to go through this. We have never spoken since we heard the news of Mindy's death, but we feel incredible sympathy for them that they lost their daughter. But Nicholas was not responsible for this.
Not the
We know
butt.
him to be a kind and gentle person. As you know from the testimony, we had not been in touch with him for years through circumstances beyond our control, and every member of our family suffered as a result of that. People missed him so desperately. My mother said she had never gone a Christmas without seeing or hearing from him, and suddenly he was gone from our lives, and we had no idea why. He is a good and kind and gentle person. The thought that he could take someone else's life is just unbelievable, honestly. I respect the jury's work that they did, but they got this one wrong. I'm sorry.
Oh my God,
Thank you.
Linda.
Thank you.
Linda.
Anything else, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
All right, this time I'll hear argument from counsel.
Your Honor, may I?
You may.
I mean, that's got, as a parent, this has got to be.
Your Honor, this.
She's gonna be dramatic. As a parent, just think about it as a parent for a minute, guys. I mean, this person, as a woman, as the mother, came out of her body. She birthed a person who has been found guilty of this crime. In Wayne's case, he created the person who's been found guilty of this crime. I mean, again, I wouldn't even call them delusional. As I said in the chat, I would call them just parents, because I can imagine most parents would find this hard to believe, especially with someone who has shown that they can be that manipulative and hide certain things. Listen, we heard from the family and friends, even they were shocked and surprised, and they were close to Nick. Her best friend's kids apparently didn't know Nick that well, and they were calling him Uncle Nick. So I get it from their standpoint, but I think there's a time and a place for that. And maybe it would have been to WTOC during a news press conference and not here in the courtroom, out of respect for the family. But hey, it's just me.
Your Honor, this case is a case that the court has obviously spent the last 2 weeks present for and listening to all of the testimony. As a result, I don't plan to go over any of that. I think Morgan may have said it best when she described how Mindy and her life impacts the world. When a sentence is rendered, I think the court has always, and I think I've even heard you say, has to evaluate not just how it impacts the defendant, but the message of rehabilitation, if possible, versus punishment, if necessary. The law in the state of Georgia entitles on a murder conviction only 3 options, essentially: the death penalty, life without parole, or life with the possibility of parole. In this case, Your Honor, the defendant is additionally facing all of the additional crimes that can run consecutively. That would be the concealing death of another, which he faces up to 10 years, possession of a knife during commission of a felony, which is mandatory 5 years consecutive, although it could be, of course, probated. And then all of the counts of possession of tools for the commission of the crime that he's facing up to 5 years for each of those. And then the 2 misdemeanors are, of course, up to 12 months. That is more than what I would refer to as natural life. The state's position, Your Honor, is that the defendant should never be released from prison, that he is a danger to society, that his testimony before this court under oath was fraud, that he was dishonest, that he perjured himself, and that, of course, is the state's position. I'm sure counsel for the defense would disagree. And I think that goes to the question, however, of whether or not there is remorse or whether there is some validation to something less than life without parole. The jury has now determined that he not only killed his wife, but that he threw her out like garbage across 3 miles with the hope that no one would ever catch him.
Mm-hmm.
If that depravity could not be any worse conduct to deserve life without the possibility of parole, I don't know what could. But for the good work of members of law enforcement, all of the teams that worked so hard to run every detail down, we would not be here today. And so, Your Honor, it is the state's position that the defendant in this case should get the maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole. The state will defer to the court with respect to all of the other counts, as I essentially believe that they are, you can't get more than forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cato.
I agree.
Your Honor, the jury has rendered its verdict. While obviously we don't agree with that, we understand that is your obligation to sentence him under that verdict. Mr. Kassotis is a highly educated man. He's a man that served his country honorably. You've heard a lot of testimony,
Y'all can't take that away
not just
from
from his parents, but from witnesses on the stand of his kindness. I think there is an opportunity for rehabilitation in this case.
Oh, no, Doug.
Especially given his past.
No.
So I would ask the court to sentence him to life with the possibility of parole. Those other counts that can be served concurrently, that the sentence have them served concurrently. I understand there's 1 count that must be consecutive. So that's the position of the defense, Your Honor.
He's going to be there until he dies. I mean, just two consecutive
And Mr. Weinstein,
20 years is he's going
client
to be
has
100.
the right to address the court if he so chooses.
Let me verify.
Nick, please shut up.
He will not be addressing the court.
Thank God.
And have him
Jesus.
stand for sentencing.
It's got to be a Cassotis that knows when to not talk.
Mr. Kassotis, a jury of 12 citizens in Liberty County, Georgia, has now determined beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of the offense of murder, along with 11 other counts. This jury has spoken very clearly. It is now my duty under the law to impose a sentence that is consistent with that verdict. It is also my duty to look at the evidence and weigh the sufficiency of that evidence.
He's not getting parole.
And, sir, the evidence in this case is supported by a mountain of compelling evidence. This case has revealed a
I used the term
level of
mountain yesterday.
depravity that truly shocks the conscience. To put together this elaborate scheme, this web of lies, creating this fictional character, Jim McIntyre, who does not exist.
Dang.
You wrote fiction, and your life was a fiction, at least the last 6 or 7 years.
Cook him, Judge.
And then you carried out, or the evidence shows that you carried out a brutal, horrific, gruesome murder of Mindy, someone who's been described by various witnesses as beautiful, kind, loving, vibrant, smart. And all of her hopes and dreams vanished in an instant. Her life tragically cut short.
I hope it was an instant.
By you. Someone who professed to love her, to care for her. Just the ultimate betrayal. And then you desecrated her body in such a vile way, discarding her remains out in a rural area of Liberty County, hoping that they would never be discovered. This shows beyond all doubt that you have no conscience. When I described to this jury this morning the elements of the crime of malice murder, the language used in the Georgia statute is that the circumstances show an abandoned and malignant heart. That describes you. You have caused so much harm to your own family, to all of those who have been impacted by your deeds. This is truly a heinous crime. So the court has considered all the facts and circumstances of the case. And the court will now impose sentence that reflects the gruesome nature of your criminal conduct.
He ain't never getting
As to
out.
count 1, malice murder, the court hereby imposes a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Although you've been convicted in count 2 of felony murder, that count would merge into count 1. As to count 3, the sentence of the court for aggravated assault
20 years.
is 20 years to serve in the state penitentiary, and it runs consecutive to count 1.
Cook his ass.
Count 4, concealing the death of another, the sentence of the court is 10 years
These will all be
to
concurrent.
run concurrently to count 1.
He's going to get life plus 20.
Count 5, possession of a
parole.
knife during the commission of a felony is
Concurrent.
required to be consecutive. So the court imposes a sentence of 5 years consecutive to count 1.
Jeez.
As to count 6, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, the court imposes a sentence of 5 years to serve, and that shall run concurrently to the other counts. Court will impose the same sentence on count 7, 5 years to serve, running concurrently. As to count 8, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, again, the court will impose a sentence of 5 years to run concurrently. As to count 9, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, the court imposes a sentence of 5 years again to serve concurrently. As to count 10, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, the court imposes a sentence of 5 years to be served concurrently. Counts 11 and 12 are both misdemeanors. They carry a maximum sentence of 12 months. The court will impose a sentence of 12 months as to each count, counts 11 and 12, and they shall run concurrently. The totality of the sentence being a sentence of life without parole plus 20 years to serve. Sir, you have a right to seek post-judgment relief from your convictions of these crimes. And you can do that by filing a motion for new trial or filing a direct appeal to the appellate court. That will have to be filed within 30 days of today's date with the clerk of Superior Court in Liberty County, Georgia. If a motion for new trial is made and the court denies it, you will then have 30 days from the filing of that order to file with the clerk a notice of appeal to the appellate level. You also have a right to file a petition for habeas corpus. And that would have to be filed within 4 years of the date that the sentence and judgment in this case is deemed to be final. If you cannot afford an attorney to pursue your appellate relief, a lawyer will be appointed for you, and I'm sure that Mr. Weinstein will discuss with you all of your appellate rights.
Wow.
Is there anything else that needs to be placed on the record before the defendant is remanded to custody?
Your Honor, I just want to clarify. The court indicated life without parole for count 1, 20 years to serve consecutive on count 3, and 5 years to serve consecutive on count 5. Is that correct?
Correct.
Then that would be life without parole plus 20.
That is correct.
I just want to make sure the record was
I misspoke.
Thank you, sir.
It's mandatory by law.
Correct. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the only position of the state.
Yep, y'all got it right.
He is remanded to custody.
Yeah, no time served either.
Court stands adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
There it is, y'all. That's the end. Life without parole plus 25. He ain't never getting out. This is, look at these people right here. His sister is devastated, seems like. Can't believe she grew up with a murderer. His mother, his father. I mean, goodness. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. And I will never have to imagine because it's not going to happen. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Did the jury get it right? Did the judge do the right thing by throwing the book at him? Should Wayne and Linda have spoken? Do that in the press conference, man. We don't need to hear that. I know this is going to be your last chance, but the judge does not care what y'all have to say at this point. Of course, you're going to see your son as my angel. Let me know what y'all think. Ugh. This is tough, man. Shout out to the gang in here. We made it through another trial. We did it. And this one was crazy. I'm going to be honest, this was one of the craziest ones, probably the craziest trial that we've covered so far. Karen Reed wasn't too crazy. It's just a lot of corruption, and she was clearly not guilty there. This one, wow. Who wants to go to Jim and Nick's this afternoon?
Hey, yo.
Too soon? We going to Jim and Nick's for lunch? Yikes. Look at these poor people. Look at Linda. Look at Linda. Nicholas and Jim both got sentenced today. Yep, we had a double header in Liberty County Court today. Shout out to the gang in here. Thank y'all for the love. We had Cynthia Hartz in the building with the 5 bomb. Says keep it up. Thank you, Cynthia. And then I gotta go back and put this super chat up from my guy, Dr. EJ. Oh my goodness. With the 500 bomb. The biggest super chat I've ever received on this channel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amy's like, Jim and Nick sounds kind of good, actually. Oh, man. Y'all had something to say. I wanted to address this whole parent thing when it comes to Nick. Because I didn't like some of the comments I was seeing in the chat as a parent. Why didn't he just tape his actions from the beginning to end? He may as well have. Yeah, got in the old school camcorder. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Appreciate you, J Money, for the love. The judge and the jury got it right. I agree. They should have kept the comments to themselves. Yeah, they had to say something just because it's their son and it's his life. But my goodness, man. I don't know. 100% got it right. Parents need to take that speech somewhere else. Yeah, we don't want to hear that. Good call on the judge. Hope the judge in Carroll County is just as good. What's going on in Carroll County? If they find out he's a Fed, he ain't going to last long in prison anyway either. I mean, he's a former attorney. So, I don't know. They might not care. This dude is trying so hard to cry. It's not working. He's like, activate cry mode. Wasn't working. No tears. Yeah, don't do that in court. So disrespectful. They had to, because this was the only chance they were going to have a say into their son's sentencing. So they didn't have a choice, but it didn't need to be said, to be honest. But maybe they just wanted to put out the record. We love our son. We don't believe this was right. Yeah, and Amy said, are they not subtracting the years he sat in jail?
Oh, hell no.
Nope. That judge does not care. Doug is an empathetic man. Too bad his client isn't. Not at all. Dottie's in the building. Shout out to Amazing Grace. Good to see you in here as always. Hope you have an amazing day. Has there been any mention from the defense around Jim? Doug asked questions about it once Nick got on the stand, but no. Maybe they will try and get a private investigator and find Jim McIntyre. They could probably look in the Liberty County Jail, though. They'll find Jim there. I can't bring myself to believe he is out of his mind. That is the only mercy I can see. He is in absolute danger. Yes. He will leave prison in a box. Yep. They should have gave him that countdown. They're getting right to his sentencing. Just because he wasn't caught doesn't mean he ain't guilty. We don't know what he really did while he was in the service. That's true, but I'm sure, I would imagine it's well documented. Oh, that's as far back as I can go? Dang. That's crazy. Yeah, and shout out to, and speaking of amazing kids, shout out to Dottie, Amazing Grace in here. The best. Amy says it's going to be Jim and you know what's now that he's going to prison. Oh my goodness, Amy. AJ Scott is going to trial in Carroll County. I don't know who that is, but I'll have to check it out. Slim Life says, yes, this is my 4th trial with y'all. Shout out to the 4-timers, and we didn't miss. We're 4 for 4, 5 for 5, I believe. I'd have to go back and look. We had Queso. We had this one. We had Tay K. We had Karen Reed. We had YSL before that. And then there was something else I'm thinking of. Oh, we had Jason Levesque. That was a good one. We called that one. We've done a good bit of trials in here, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. If he dies and is miraculously brought back to life, he'll face 25 years in prison. Dang, what a way to put it. Sheesh. Somebody said, well, 3rd, technically, I was in and out during YSL. I made the right choice by becoming a member during YSL. Yeah, thanks for being here, Slim Life. I appreciate it. Former GSP charged with vehicular oh, man. Okay, I got you. Vehicular homicide of 2 kids. It's really messed up case. Jesus. AJ Scott is a state trooper who drove into some teenagers, killing 2 of them. What? I mean, is Is there a question? Do they have it on camera? Why? I'm not going to disrespect the legal system and say, why is there even a trial? It starts on Monday. And there was another trial y'all mentioned on Monday too. This guy looks familiar. Oh, it's here in Georgia. I think I've heard of this case. I'll give you guys a quick overview. And thank you always. Y'all really help make this show a great place it is. Not only by watching, not only by participating in the chat, not only by showing super love like Dr. EJ and dropping crazy amounts of super chats, but by help keeping me informed. Y'all know I cover a lot on this channel. We don't just talk about one trial at a time. We still have other topics we're covering. And when you guys bring up and let me know what's going on in the legal world, something I may have missed, I do appreciate it as well. Adelson is Tuesday. Which one do y'all want to see more? Yep, Amy talked about this case. That's probably why I recognize it, Amy. It's because you mentioned it before. AJ Scott trial set to begin Monday. The trial of former Georgia State Trooper AJ Scott is set to begin on Monday, almost 10 years after he crashed into a carload of teenagers, killing 2 and seriously injuring 2 others. Scott is due in court on Monday, according to Carroll County court officials. Superior Court Judge Erica T, because I'm going to mess up her last name, was scheduled to oversee pretrial motions in the case last week, but was out of the office, according to Judicial Assistant KM. Judge Williams Brewer sat in for Judge T on Thursday when the district attorney's office confirmed that the case has been assigned to special setting classification, meaning Scott's trial will be prioritized on the court calendar. On September 26, 2015, Scott, a GSP trooper, crashed his patrol unit car into a car containing 4 teenagers at an intersection of Highway 27 and Holly Springs Road near Bremen. According to the court documents, he was driving more than 30 miles over the posted speed limit, but was not responding to a call at the time of the crash. Jesus, man. He also was allegedly driving without emergency lights or a siren. 2 passengers in the car, 17-year-old Kylie Lindsay and 16-year-old Isabella Chinchilla, died as a result of the crash. The driver, Dylan Wall, and another passenger, Benjamin Finken, were severely injured. Scott, who now serves as the mayor of Buchanan, was fired. What? He's a mayor? Scott, who now serves as the mayor of Buchanan, was fired from the GSP after the incident. Wait a second. He was fired after the incident and then became the mayor?
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no.
Am I reading this right, y'all, or am I just being me? Scott, who now serves... when was this article written? This article was written 2 weeks ago. Oh my goodness. Scott, who now serves as the mayor of Buchanan, was fired from the GSP after the incident. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of second-degree vehicular homicide, 2 counts of serious injury by vehicle, violation of oath by a public offender, speeding, and reckless driving. My Lord. 16 and 17 years old. Gone. Because of this clown. I'm going to have to do some research on this. This is crazy. Shout out to the community, man. Shout out to the gang. Crazy times we live in. Oh my goodness. Do you think Wendy Adelson will be charged for her involvement in the murder? I have no idea who that is. Oh, Julio Fulio's on Monday as well. All right. Dang, do we have to? Well, we can end the poll. 84% of y'all were right. He was found guilty on all counts. I think most of us agreed. So we got Julio Fulio. I think we're going to cover that one. We got AJ Scott. And then we've got, y'all are saying Wendy Adelson or the daughter. It's the daughter Adelson. Adelson has a lot of parts to it. We would have to catch up as a group for sure. I'm not a fan of catching up. Has it started yet? I like to view these cases as someone who's sat there for jury selection. So I don't know. Julio Fulio. Yeah, oh, it's the mom. Okay. Crazy story, 4 already in prison. All right, here we go. Which trial should we cover? Monday. We have. So when does the Adelson trial start? Does that start on Monday? Did I already ask that? AJ Scott. Let's see. Vehicular homicide. No, it's Donna's turn. Wendy is up next. We've got Fulio, murder. And then we've got, which one? Did the Adelson case start already? Adelson opening statements won't start until the 22nd. Okay. Probably taking 3 days to pick a jury. Okay, let's see. Well, we'll definitely cover. We might look into that then. Okay. Adelson. And then we'll say starts on the 22nd. Which that would be next, what, Friday, right? Next Friday. Fulio trial is for the snitching pregnant girlfriend. Yeah. Expect shenanigans from the Adelson defense attorneys. Oh, looks like we got another one where y'all are going to be torn on which side you're on. So we might have to go with that one. That'll be interesting to see. What else do y'all know? What do you guys know? You said it's going to be, no, it's Donna's turn. Wendy is up next. So is Donna the mom and Wendy's the daughter? 2 gang members, the brother-in-law, and now the mom? It's the mom. Okay, thank you. What is going on with the Adelsons? Yeah, Amy's got it. AJ Scott was a Georgia State Patrol trooper who was fired shortly after being involved in a fatal crash in 2015 that killed 2 teenage girls. He later became the mayor of Buchanan, Georgia. The trial timeline and mistrial. In May of 2019, the trial took place in Carroll County. As the jury deliberations were beginning, the defense argued prosecutors withheld exculpatory evidence. You can't do that, man. Specifically, a theory that the passenger may have leaned forward into the front seat before the... What? Is that a crime? How would... I get the defense is doing their job. And if you withhold evidence, you withhold it. It has to be a mistrial. But good Lord, man, what's that going to change? Hey, you know what? I can't argue that. I got to be fair. So if it's evidence they were supposed to have, it's evidence. What does Amy say? Let me see. Mistrial declared. The judge declared a mistrial because they did not give the defense that evidence. So this is a new trial. Adelson is so much more interesting, in my opinion. Donna got caught fleeing to Vietnam to escape extradition. It was heard on a jail call. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this AJ Scott ish is so messed up. How long is this AJ Scott trial set to take? And when it comes to Julio Fulio, I know that trial is going to set up for the trial of the other 3, or was it 4? The other 3 or 4. It's going to be tough, man. Donna is the killer grandma. Wendy is her diabolical daughter. Sister to the demented dentist, Charlie Adelson. What? Oh my gosh. It looks like we might have another Karen Reed trial on our hands. Lord. Yeah, the killer grandma for sure. Anything that Woody may be a witness in? No. Woody needs to sit his butt down. All right, looks like we might be going with Adelson. So it's a tie right now between Julio Fulio and AJ Scott, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Who is AJ Scott? We just talked about it today. He was a Georgia State patrol officer that rammed into the back of a car with 4 teenagers in it. He was going over 30 miles over the speed limit. He killed 2 of them. The other 2 were seriously injured. There's a mistrial because the prosecution withheld exculpatory evidence. That mistrial was back in 2019. He's since become the mayor of Buchanan, Georgia. What? And now he's going to be in another trial starting on Monday. Yikes. As mayor, Scott was involved in several incidents, public intoxication that prompted an outside investigation into his conduct. While still facing legal proceedings, Scott was elected mayor, raising community concerns, especially among the victims' families. Who voted for him? He sounds like a real POS, to be honest. Donna Adelson's trial will be a circus. Her daughter, Wendy, should be charged as well. The whole family is evil. That's insane. He was elected afterwards. Like, Jesus. Are you, man? So it looks like it's almost a tie with Julio Fulio being ahead by 3%. Now, the only thing with Julio Fulio is I don't think this is the main trial. I think it's just for the pregnant chick, and she seemed to be taking some sort of deal. So she's probably going to snitch on the other dude. So it might be interesting to watch. We got to do something on Monday, which I have a ton of topics I was supposed to cover today. We probably won't get to till Monday anyway, or until tomorrow. So interesting. IDK, which either, especially interesting. Do y'all know what the president is accused of? Not shocking at all, but I digress. Hey, leave my man, leave 4547 alone. That's my guy. Y'all better stop. Don't talk about my president. All right, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Thank you again to everyone who showed major support. I will be posting clips of this live stream a little bit later for y'all. Thank you to all 600 plus of you for liking the video. Big shout out to everyone who went the extra mile and dropped the super chats in there as well. I appreciate y'all. Big shout out to Les Cleaver, who called it. He said we were going to have a verdict before lunch. Jay Money in the building. Slim Life, New Jersey. As always, Kelly Berg. My guy Brock was up in here too. CPE. Poetic Justice. And then we had Cynthia Hartz, my awesome, amazing Amy, of course. And then the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dr. EJ, dropping the biggest super chat this channel has ever seen. Cannot thank y'all enough. Thank you for keeping the lights on here at the Music Morning Show, the ClassE Morning Show. We're going to be back tomorrow. We got a lot to cover tomorrow as well. So many topics I've been holding off on. Speaking of Karen Reed, we got some Karen Reed topics. We're going to talk about Michael Morrissey's emails. He's got exposed, y'all. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, along with what's going on with Shannon Sharp, some other issues with Diddy. We're going to get into it. Thank y'all so much for the love and support. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Big shout out to Dr. EJ. Crazy sponsor of today's show. Hope y'all have a great rest of your afternoon. Enjoy lunch. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. Oh, let me see actually, it looks like it's a tie. We got a tie between Adelson and Julio Fulio, so we might do a little bit of dipping and dabbling in all of it. I'll see y'all later.